Mm.
Aha! Looks like you're in the dancing to the beat of my own drum stage, baby. We're Huggies. We got just what you need. And we'll keep you comfy through all your moves. That's
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So over the weekend, there was a massive story that broke with the original voice of Bayonetta explaining through a series of videos why they're not voicing Bayonetta in the upcoming sequel. Well, after all of this started to spread online, it really exploded, and now it's getting to the point where it's out of control with Hideki Kamiya himself getting involved. We'll go over all of that here today. Also, we are going to be talking about a massive game series that, yes, finally seems to be making its return, and we'll also be talking about Razer, as they have now announced their newest handheld system, and it looks a bit better than that Logitech G Cloud. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button, helps out a ton, and if new here to the Spawnwave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. And we're going to start today with NVIDIA and their 4080 card that is set to launch next month, because it appears NVIDIA has canceled, or as they say, unlaunched one of the variants. We can see this posted up over on their website, where they say unlaunching the 12GB 4080. The RTX 4080 12GB is a fantastic graphics card, but it's not named right. Having two GPUs with the 4080 designation is confusing, so they're pressing the unlaunch button on the 4080 12GB. The 16GB variant will continue as planned to launch November 16th. And the obvious thing is, as most of us figured, the differences went a bit deeper than just the amount of VRAM. With the card, it went as far as basically everything else about that card. It's not uncommon to have different amounts of video RAM on these cards, as the board partners would do that all the time, play around with RAM configurations and so on there. This went a bit deeper, and we figured what they were really doing was kind of passing off the 4070 as just a 4080 variant. And in fact, I wouldn't be shocked if a very similar looking card popped up maybe next year with the 4070 tag on it. But I guess we'll see about that as we head into 2023 with hopefully some of the lower end variants that aren't priced over $1,000. Also, we did have Nintendo announce a bit of an issue with Switch Sports. We can see this posted up over on Twitter, where they say a bug has been found in Nintendo Switch Sports version 1.2.1 update, which causes the software to close during the pre-match loading screen. This is unfortunately affecting both online and offline play modes. We have therefore temporarily suspended the rollout of the update, and to go a bit further, they've shut down servers for Nintendo Switch Sports temporarily, although it's still down as of this recording, so it's actually been a couple of days currently, which seems kind of drastic to basically knock out the online play for Switch Sports. The thing I noticed, though, is not many people were bringing it up, so I kind of wonder how many online are playing Switch Sports necessarily with online multiplayer, but still, it's not a good situation for Nintendo to be in. They're having to pull down the online servers. Hopefully, they're able to figure this out in the next day or two. I was surprised it was still down when I was going through the show for Monday, but here we are. Oh, and at the end of last year, we did have that Splinter Cell remake announced by Ubisoft, and it looks like some things are changing in the background when it comes to some of the personnel. For example, we can see this posted up by VGC, where they say David Grivell, the director of the upcoming Splinter Cell remake, has left Ubisoft after 11 years. He was set as the director for the Splinter Cell remake, and instead it appears he's moving on. And this, of course, sparked quite a bit of concern online around this project. The only thing I can say with this, though, is it would be a lot worse if we were 3 or 4 years into development and the director is just randomly leaving. In this case, the Splinter Cell remake is still quite a ways off from them even showing it to us, let alone launching. So if the director was going to leave at any time, it'd probably be now, like very, very early on in the development cycle. So while I can't really pull much from this in terms of what it means for the direction of the game, it's at least at a better time than if we were leading up to launch and the director's out. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with the massive story over the weekend. I did a single video for this going over All right, we're about 4 months into the service.
SpongeBob was on.
We're under attack!
Is it Pope?
The world is even like built out very similarly.
This is the weirdest tale. I agree to an extent, but man, I don't know. I think that the boss design is so much better in N64. Oh god, I'm spacing Ocarina of Time. But I don't know.
So now we're gonna get to play Majora's Mask. So now everyone's gonna start saying that's the best Zelda game.
I think it's the better one to revisit.
No,
I think it's much more interesting than Ocarina of Time.
Better on the 3. I like the 3DS version more.
Oh, don't say that online, man.
I'll
man.
say, what the fuck do I care? What are you gonna do? Yell at me? Ooh.
Yes,
Come at me. I don't give a fuck.
they are. You're gonna have to
I think
read,
Majora's Mask is better to go back to.
I never liked it on the N64.
Well,
What,
it just so
really?
happens we're going back to it next week.
Yeah, there
right?
you go. Going back next week. Very
I'll give it
good.
a fair shot. I rented it so many times, but I didn't have the money for games back then. I rented it so many times, and I ended up beating it and just thinking that this isn't what I wanted. But I thought it was okay. But I'll give it a fair shot just playing it through this time, you know, not being interrupted by renting all that crap.
And they had an original idea in Majora's Mask, unlike Ocarina of Time when they take from
Yeah,
the
but
past.
some ideas don't need to be made.
The Intellivision Amico is an original idea. Does that mean that we need one?
Oh, I just got
It
caught
doesn't
up
even
in that
exist.
drama. It's
Welcome.
so good.
Welcome, my
so
friend. It's amazing. It's
I've been watching the videos. I'm like, yo, this
It's
is
so-
like, it's so good. Watch
it is
the Miko
crazy.
drama, guys. It's such a good thing. It's so fun. It makes gaming fun to me to see all this stuff going back and forth.
You think,
definitely.
you think Sony and Xbox fanboys are bad? You haven't seen a goddamn thing. My
Yeah.
God.
So the next
Amico-
Amico promotion video, they're gonna clip OJ saying it makes gaming fun to me, and then use that in the next promo.
Use
Yeah.
my clip. Yeah, I saw that with
the best.
Rerez,
Yeah,
right?
where it was Rerez being like, this console can't make it, but if anyone could do it, it's Tommy Talrico. And they cut it so it's like, this console will make it because of Tommy. It's like
It's like that.
I
the
love
Simpsons
that
thing.
stuff, man.
Sweet,
People are like
sweet
having
man.
mental breakdowns.
Yeah, exactly.
People are they're fighting each other. I'm like, dude, this is it, man.
Dude,
this is
it's
it.
Well,
next level
and then
shit.
the weirdness of a bunch of like soccer dads invested money in it, and now they're the people that are making YouTube videos being like, I love this console. It's like this feels illegal somehow.
Like everybody looks like a dad. Everybody looks like they're 40 so 50.
But it's not for them. It's for kids and soccer moms and grandmas and grandpas somehow.
Yeah,
Why,
it's-
why didn't they
it's
just make a plug and play system with 20 games loaded and sell it for $100?
because they're
Or
dumb as
why
hell.
didn't? Well, I mean, because like the thing is, you can get Intellivision collections on your modern consoles. You can get it on the Evercade
Evercade,
Versus,
yeah.
$20 for like 10 Intellivision games. Like that's what you need to do, but I don't know.
Soccer dads, you fighting back and forth.
No, soccer dads be getting crazy though, especially like
if
high
you-
school soccer dads.
Yeah, male Karens. Yeah, they'll defend the Amico.
Name
like
a
some
game that's on. What's the game that's
energy.
on there? What's the game that's on there?
On what, the Amico?
Yeah, yeah.
Shark-
What's the
Shark-
game?
Shark-
What's the
Shark-
game?
Shark-
What am I
Shark-
buying this thing
yeah.
for?
Astro Smash,
Poopy
Rigid
diaper.
Force Redo.
Did you just say Shark?
Yeah.
Well, I watched.
Finnegan Fox Game of the Year. I mean, that's a jaw-dropping title right there.
If
Wasn't that
y'all
just the
chat, if
downgrade
you-
of the other version that came out before it? I thought that just got
No,
rid of all
they-
the extra characters in the online or something.
If you want to go down a weird
I'm
rabbit hole,
I'm gonna type this game in. Okay, I'm gonna take one look at it.
yeah,
I'll give you
Don't do
my
it.
immediate
Don't do it.
impression on
you
this.
you have to watch.
Shark.
Chat. People who don't know this, watch these Amico fanboy videos. They're videos that have like 100 views, and it's a guy
it
being
is.
like, "Yeah, the games suck, but I'll enjoy
Watch
playing
the
them."
drama. Watch like
Yeah, you gotta watch, but you gotta watch both ends of the spectrum because
Yeah, watch
I'm,
both
not,
ends,
I'm
yes.
not giving the crazies a pass either on
Yeah.
either side because
Yeah,
there are
yeah.
people that will literally like slit their wrist for the Amico, and then there are people that will slit your wrist for the Amico because they hate it so much, and then there's people that love it so much. A lot of people sort of fall into the middle. Those are kind of boring. You gotta watch the extremists on
yeah,
this
you
thing.
gotta and then watch like the people that have always been against. Like, I think the biggest one would be like what Pat and Ian, right? That would be like the
Yeah, Pat and Ann have been very against it. the whole
Yeah,
time.
so
Yeah,
watch that stuff too.
The
I'll
C,
keep- when the thing was first unveiled, how the fuck are we talking about this? When the thing
I
was
don't know,
first
but it's
unveiled
right.
in 2018, they did the initial trailer for it, and I made a video on it because I thought it sounded pretty cool. They showed you a bunch of, they said 149 to 179. They said we have all of these licensed games that we're working on, and they weren't like. There was in television games, but there's also games from like late 80s arcade stuff, some NES titles that were mixed in there. So I was like, okay, these games hit with me. It's something I'm interested in. And then they were like, oh, we're doing Earthworm Jim 4 exclusively on it. So once again, I was like, okay, this sounds like something cool. And then just like ever since they made that Earthworm Jim 4 announcement, it's just been a constant downhill. Like it's just been problem after problem after problem with it. And man, gone. It's 250 and up now. Like right then and then.
What did you just what?
Yeah,
What?
they said in the
How much
initial
is this
trailer,
thing?
they said all games are going to be $5. Now they're saying all games are going to be $20. Like everything's doubled or quadrupled in price.
Well, the new thing is that so like if you backed it via one of their many crowdfunding things, which they won't admit to it that it's crowdfunding for whatever reason, your price is locked in at the 250, but supposedly when it hits shelves, it'll be more.
This just looks like a waste of time. I'm looking at Shark, and I'm looking at Finnegan Fox. That's like some Newgrounds.
Which is
When
Fox
I-
and Forest on the Switch.
When I first
Except
saw
for
it,
pixel art.
I was like, this thing's dumb. And I literally paid, I was like, I looked at the controller and I was like, this is stupid. And I never paid attention to it again until recently. You're a fraud though, RGT, for suggesting that it should be good. Making that video.
Just
No.
scrap the idea. They got this
Watch- I'm
touchscreen
telling you.
controller, $100 plug and play, 20 loaded games, ship it.
Watch that initial trailer, the very first trailer that they put out, and then watch every other trailer since then. It went from because initially it was marketed as like a new retro console, and then somewhere along the way they were like, you know what, fuck those guys.
Damn
we're gonna use them
scammer.
for
You have
marketing,
to
but we're
fuck
just gonna
those
make a bunch of fucking kids games. And like, it's like what happened
For
here?
the scam. How much did Tommy pay you? You
Shit.
part in the scam, bruh.
I did a video with Tommy where I was allowed to ask him whatever
You too,
questions I wanted.
Dreamcast guy.
And when I asked him, I was like, what's going to happen with this console if it fails in 6 months? And he's like, it won't, because it's so interesting and innovative. And now it's not even going to come out probably. So it's like, well, I guess it didn't last 6 months.
Oh, this looks terrible.
You got people leaving voice messages, man. I hate you. I can't believe that you turned your back on us. You guys see that?
Yeah.
No, my
Yes.
God, please link that. That's how
I can't believe you turned your back on us, you backstabber. I'm like, bro,
I
this
saw
is
the
great.
clip. The new CEO of Intellivision did an interview on a YouTube channel with 300 subscribers, and he's just like, all the haters are
This
trying
thing
to
costs the
brag
same amount as a Switch OLED or an Xbox Series S.
Yeah. Oh God.
It's more expensive than a Switch Lite.
But you're
Moving
getting
on.
Shark.
Like fuck.
Hey, price go up, man. You can't.
My theory is that they'll do the founders editions, which I think are like 5,000, and then that's it. We're done. We'll pack
Honestly,
it up.
I'm looking at this thing right now. They might want to figure out how to close this down as soon as
Well,
possible, because this is
They're probably going to release the minimum amount possible to not get sued, because some of the numbers that have been thrown around, they've taken like 10 million or 50 million of investor money, so they have to release something.
yeah. I don't see any future for this product.
Guys,
looking at
I
it right
need-
now. All
I
right,
need 10K.
Anyway.
I'm gonna invest. I just need 10K. Somebody lend it to me, please. I'm
I
gonna invest.
would not invest in that.
I
I'm looking at it
kinda
now.
low key, I kind of want to get one to mess around with. Not
Let's
gonna lie.
open it up and see what's inside.
Yep.
It says
It's
Samoa
spider
process.
crawls out.
I was going to say a hamster on a wheel.
Make a good video.
Or it's like one of those.
Hey,
like,
the Atari VCS actually came out, and you know what? It runs Windows. There you go. That actually happened.
that's true.
Yeah, they delivered it.
God damn, Carl Anthony Towns is wilding.
All right, Evan, we got Discord question over there.
Well, we were on Horizon, so I'll just throw out, what's the cast slot on the $275 Regalia edition that doesn't even come with a physical disc?
Stupid.
I understand why it doesn't come with a disc, because I thought about it a bit, because there's a digital PlayStation 5 system. So if they sold it with a disc, then it wouldn't work for that. And we've seen these collector editions come with a code, and I think it's just the dumbest thing, because it's like you're spending hundreds of dollars, give them a physical copy of the game. But I mean, it says it right there when you go to buy it, which is why I would never buy something like that. But I think it's dumb. It's a weird practice.
I don't do collector's editions anymore. I have so many, they're so big. And that one, I've seen the pictures. That thing is giant. Like, good deal, I guess, if you want that, but no.
I mean, just sell the statue separately as a thing. I don't know. Yeah, that's just the future. Almost the present, by the way. Digital games. Almost. Got another one over there, Evan?
How much do you believe the rumor of Metal Gear Solid Remake targeting the PSVR 2 launch?
Where did that come from?
I don't know.
PSVR. You're fucking.
I don't know where we get questions like every couple of weeks where I'm like, what Twitter feed are
That
you
would actually
following?
be awesome, so it probably won't happen.
Yeah.
I'd be all for it having a mode for VR. If anything, I don't think it'd be the specific, like, I don't think it'd be a game specifically for it to have a mode.
You cannot trust Konami to do something like that.
Oh no, they wouldn't do it. They would hand it to someone else. They'd be like, here's the IP, send us the check.
Who can make
To be fair, that Getsu Fumadin game that they just released on the Switch,
Yeah.
I've been playing it.
Yeah.
Is it good?
It's pretty good.
I will have a video up soon on it.
that game's good, and their Castlevania Advance collection was good too. They're good at going back, but like a new Metal Gear. Look what happened with the last one. What was it? Survive.
Mm-hmm. Is Sean? Is that a sponsored video?
What? I can't hear you.
Okay,
Audio just cut off.
Okay.
But no, it is a good game. Like, I've actually sunk a lot of time into it this weekend.
Wait, if that check to clear, I can hear it.
Let me go to some of the super chats here. Trip and Fall says, my week started with me hoping that Mario Kart DLC would come to Wii U, and it ended with the whole thing being shut down. Scott said, been watching for a few months now and thought I'd show my appreciation for the great content y'all make. Much love from Scotland.
Hey,
thank you.
Josh says, what do you use for the music before the cast starts? What do you use for the music, Evan?
It's a song I pulled. It's one of the DMCA free, no need for anything songs that YouTube has, and it's background studio stuff. That way we don't get screwed over.
Do you just play it with like VLC or something like that, right?
Yep.
Well, it's okay, cool. There we go. D Jones says, pour one out for Wood. Oh, getting bamboozled by Sony, having to buy 2 copies of Horizon Forbidden West.
That's how they get you.
Still enjoying the game. Yep. All digital future. Looking forward to it. Romy says, I recently got my D-brand black plates, but when I went to go swap them out, I realized dust is built up in the vents and fans of my PS5, which made me curious. How often do you guys clean your console PCs, and how do you do it? Well, with the PS5, it's not too bad, because when you pop their sides off, they have spots for vacuuming or like compressed air and stuff. But usually like at least like once a month, you just kind of wipe it off and like hit it with some compressed air and stuff, and that's about it. The fans inside will take care of the rest.
I do it once every 5 years, like an absolute.
Well, I actually end up moving my console around a lot. Like the PS5, I had to take it to the office and back, and like my Xbox. So the fact that I'm moving it around, I also like pick it up and look at it and stuff. So, but I would just do that. Compressed air, just blast it. You just got to loosen up the dust a bit so the fan inside can take care of the rest and jettison it out. So, V says, John Linneman guest to discuss preservation when. He's on a different time zone though, so it's a little harder. But I wouldn't mind having John on for some sort of discussion at some point.
John's awesome. He'd be great to have on. But yeah, he's in Europe, so the time zone is pretty difficult for him.
Zuck says, is Zelda 35 over, or does Nintendo just hate money? I'm waiting for that Wind Waker. I mean, they got to bring Wind Waker now. Got to bring Wind Waker to the Switch.
Yeah,
bring Twilight Princess to the Switch.
Now that every Wii U is about to self-destruct, they have to bring it over.
that's not many.
All 10 of them.
He says, where can I get ROMs legally? Is it even possible? I'm trying to live right.
No.
Google's your friend.
Yeah. Just do it. Don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
Khalid says, OJ, fix your cam game.
What?
I don't know.
I think it's just trolling. You look fine, brother.
Joe says, John Carney, the CEO of Crypto Safe, has made it known that he loves playing Halo. Does RTC think he could beat him in a Team Slayer match?
Love playing and good at playing are two separate things.
I think Sean would win.
I mean, I'll fuck him up.
Like Sean is the type of guy who reminds me of the Dark Souls player who bitches constantly, because Sean is legitimately good at Halo, but the whole time he's just screaming about how much he hates Halo.
Only when he gets teabagged.
Oh yeah, it's entertaining though. It's fun.
Well, I mean, you have so like you have the whole cussing to be cool thing. Like, all right, no, but like when. Like, all right, so when we were mad young and we go to the skate park and there'd be like dudes there, either like older dudes or like out of town dudes who are like ripping it up. me and my friends would come up with this thing. We'd be like, all right, we'll just act like, we could do the same shit that they're pulling. And then when we fuck up, we just start cussing. And then they'll be like, oh, these dudes must be legit. And they know what they're doing. They just keep messing up. So like we would like all of a sudden you just hear like one of my buddies be like, fuck. And you look and like they'd be trying some trick that they had no business trying, that there was zero chance of landing. But like people would pay attention to be like, oh, that dude must be badass. He must know what he's doing. It's just what we did, man.
On a Ship says, the cast, is it worth getting the Mass Effect trilogy on PS4 if you have Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 on PS3 and never
Yes.
played the series yet? Thanks.
Yes.
Yes. The improvements to 1 are practically a remake.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Even the loading times and just all the quality of life things they've given it. It's worth it.
Voxy says, for anyone worried, Yoshi P, director and producer of Final Fantasy XIV, confirmed that they're not interested in NFTs for the game in their producer live letter. Well, there you go.
It was a good live letter.
Tijo says, just got out of the Uncharted movie as of typing this. Wasn't all that impressed, but I wish Sony let us choose the theater for the free ticket. No Regal Cinemas near me. M1 said, this is for News God. Love the news. I watch it daily and kind of miss the Saturday show, to be honest. Stopped doing that a long time ago, actually. Wow. Been on for a while. Nathaniel says, with Legends being popular, why not bring back Stadium for competitive? With Pokemon Home, you could move your Pokemon from all games to build a team.
It doesn't make sense to do that, to do Stadium, because the only reason why Stadium existed was because it's a portable.
Right, that way you could put it on your console then. Yeah.
With Pokemon Sword and Shield, you can do the same exact thing that you did in Stadium.
Yep.
So there was no once they moved over to Switch, there was like really no reason. They never made a Pokemon game on the Wii U. It would have made sense to have Stadium game, but not anymore.
I kind of like it. I don't know. It's dumb and it's not needed, but I would dig it.
Let me pull this up here. And we do have a sponsor for tonight's podcast. Same sponsor as last week. So either I really like Factor or I messed up the spot completely last week. So I'll let you guys figure that one out while I tell you about how Factor makes it easy for me to eat clean 24/7 with fresh, never frozen, prepared meals that are so delicious you wouldn't believe they're actually good for you. Now, they save you time by delivering chef-crafted meals to my doorstep, limiting the hassle of grocery shopping and meal prep, not to mention cleanup. No dishes to watch. In fact, these will be ready for you in less than 2 minutes, which is way faster than having to order out and have that stuff delivered. Even Sean's been looking into it because of that. Save him time. He get back to watching the Knicks getting slammed all over. Yeah, okay. And Factor even knows your preferences. They offer vegan, veggie meals, cold-pressed juices, smoothies, energy bites, plant-based bars, extra protein, veggie sides, and more. Keep you fueled and focused all day long. Head to go.factor75.com/spawncast120. Use code spawncast120 to get $120 off. That's code spawncast120 at go.factor75.com/spawncast120 for $120 off. Let's talk about the eShop for the Wii.
But you know what's funny? I'm actually doing next month. I'm doing a food thing, but it's a different one. That's why I didn't say anything during that.
And now we have to do the ad next week again.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Wii U and the 3DS eShop because it is getting shut down, actually. And I feel like this kind of surprised a lot of people. Which is interesting because I feel like we knew the life was limited on these shops for these systems. But this, when Nintendo announced it hit pretty hard. Now, I do want to get the dates up because I can go to the Nintendo's 3DS and Wii U eShop notice.
Whopper, 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 Junior, Double, Triple, Whopper, Impossible or Bacon Whopper. I rule this day. And BK, have it your way.
Because they did give us actual dates for the closures of them. Here we go. This is the Wii U and 3DS eShop. So as of May 23rd, no longer possible to use a credit card to add funds. So that would be 3 months. Yes, 3 months. And then August 29th, no longer possible to use a Nintendo eShop card to add funds to an account in the eShop or Wii U. And in order to then buy something afterwards, that would be in 6 months, a little more than 6 months, you would have to use your shared wallet basically on your Nintendo account now and essentially transfer funds over. Basically, they were trying to go through it, and it sounds like, well, I'm sure try to figure that out if there's any last minute purchases to make before next year, March 2023, when the Wii U and the 3DS eShops sunset officially. You'll still be able to re-download everything, but anything that's free right now, which includes Pokebank, will no longer be available to grab. So what do we think about this announcement? Because they put it up on Twitter and it just exploded online, like immediately.
It feels sad. It had to happen eventually, but it feels sad. I say I hate the Wii U. I think the Wii U is a turd sandwich, but it's still weird that it's getting shut off.
Honestly, I think it's really disappointing. You know, it's typical Nintendo bullshit. You know, they are unwilling to offer any other alternative. They've never been interested in doing it. I think back to the Wii Shop that closed in 2019. There are games like the Rebirth series, which I would love to see come to the Switch. And unfortunately, we'll never see those games again. I did a Twitter thing today asking people what their favorite digital 3DS games were, and I got all sorts of great games. I've been checking some of them out today. And look, I think it's really disappointing. Nintendo really needs to come up with a better solution for this. Now, this is not about, you know, no one bought the Wii and no one cares. This is a bigger issue. And this is not about preservation either, because, like, let's be honest, every single 3DS game has been dumped and is available online. You can download as a ROM, right? So preservation doesn't even matter. This is about Nintendo really just, you know, giving a middle finger to their customers once again. And I'm very disappointed by it. I think they need to do something else. You compare it to the 360, which is not a perfect service, let's be honest. But the 360, their store has been online since 2005. So why can't Nintendo offer the same thing? I've heard things like, well, you know, the servers are old, they have to take them offline eventually. No, they don't. They don't have to do any of that. They're making a decision to do this, and I think it's wrong. And I think they really need to think about their customers and how they can bring these games forward to their loyal fan base. Like, there are 75 million 3DS owners out there, and you're basically saying, sorry, we're done. We're wrapping up today. Well, we're wrapping up in a year from now, and I think it's unfortunate.
I'll be honest, I wasn't too surprised with the Wii U. Like, when I saw that, I was like, yeah, I guess, because it's like how many people actually have a Wii U? I mean, I have 4 of them, and I feel like I'm like majority stakeholder in the system right now. If it wasn't for Scott, it might be one of the most
the CEO of the Wii U.
Yeah, I might be. I don't know. Just based on console, like OJ has a bunch of consoles too for the Wii U, so we might control 50% of them here.
I've got 3 or 4. I don't know. They're like hiding somewhere. I got Japanese ones.
Yeah. So like I get that. I'm like, I wonder, like, I would love to see the numbers for how many people were active on the Wii U eShop, because I think it probably wasn't many. But the issue with that, obviously, is that games like a very fairly priced Metroid Prime Trilogy, for example, is just like gone. Then the one the free downloads is the one that's kind of frustrating, because I wonder if you can still get the Xenoblade Chronicles X HD texture, or the texture pack things that made it load faster. I wonder if those will still be available. That's like the only place you're playing it right now.
I think it'll only be available if you've already downloaded it. If you have not downloaded it, then it won't be available. Anything that you've already downloaded will be available for you to re-download.
Well, maybe they'll just port Chronicles X to the Switch anyway. Hopefully, I mean that's the hope at this point, right?
They need to. They can't leave that. They can't let it die with that system. That's ridiculous.
I do want to point out there was this very interesting story that popped up on Nintendo Life with apparently an alleged source that they had talking about Nintendo, why they are doing this, which a lot of it comes down to them wanting to close out their old store, or their, like, the stuff they have set up as they move to this new Nintendo account system with their Switch and this new online system they're using. But they did say one thing in there that I find hard to believe. But I mean, here we are with the 3DS and the Wii U shop getting shut down. They mentioned that Nintendo might just have it so you can't re-download anything after like 2 or 3 years.
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
That would be rough, because a lot of people right now are rushing to buy digital games. And if in 2 or 3 years you weren't able to download them, I don't know. That might bring up there might be some like class action stuff at that point, I feel like, because it wasn't advertised 2 or 3 years before, or some I don't know. I guess it's going to come down to if that's even correct, because this was a source from Nintendo Life going over this. And it sounds like someone who may have worked at Nintendo before, and who knows how that could, I get disgruntled employees, that kind of thing. But until people really verify that further, I still think it's something that's more rumor territory, but it's something to consider for anyone out there. I would actually go for the physical stuff now, because
Good luck.
Yeah, that's already skyrocketing.
but it's going to jump more when the shops shut down. That's when it'll go up even further, because that's when people really go, people are going to wait. Like, let's be real. They're going to put this off for like a year, and then they're going to realize, oh, those stores are shut down. Let me go find Dragon Quest 8 or something. And it's like, oh, now it's $300. You know, it's already $100 now, but like, it'll just continue to go up. All right, Sean, hit us.
You can't yell at people for piracy when you don't give them a way to give you money to play your games. Point blank, period. That's what this all boils down to. The Wii U allows you to buy games on there. The 3DS allows you to buy games on there. Retro games, exclusive games on the shops, you know, the smaller titles, the bigger titles. You can't get mad at people for wanting to play these games and pirating these games if you're not giving them a way to give you money to play the games. And I think that's the biggest problem, is you constantly see Nintendo going after ROM sites and ROM hackers and, you know, this, that, and the other. And it's like, why? You're not giving people a way to buy your games. And I think that's the biggest disconnect, especially when it comes to an optics standpoint, because you can't. You literally have to look to piracy in order to play some of these games. Especially, and even if you were to buy it, even if there were games that were available on, you know, in a physical way, Nintendo's still not making money off those physical copies. All you're doing is artificially inflating this retro gaming market that exists now. So no matter how you play it, if you pirate a game or if you buy a game from a reseller, Nintendo still doesn't get a cut of it. So what's the fucking difference?
Especially since this is digital, and Nintendo did have that Q&A page that specifically stated if you're looking for retro games from them to go to pawn shops. And it's like, does the pawn shop have your server? Ridiculous. Can we get it from there?
You know what was really interesting was that Q&A, right? There was that question that Nintendo posted, and they took it back down. They were not supposed. They were not so. Somebody got a little frosty there and wrote like a paragraph for a question. It was like all the stuff people on Twitter were basically asking. They were like, "We'll show them." And you know what was really surprising is they pointed to their subscription service. They were like, "No, you want to go to the subscription service if you want these retro things." It's like, and Nintendo really is like going the way of subscriptions now over everything else, which is just, it's interesting to consider that. But yeah, that was I guess it read as a very snarky response is what we'll say. And they're like, now I gotta pull that down.
I read that in my video. Yeah. And for anybody in chat who didn't see it, there was basically this one really long question which said, hey, some of these games are about to cease to exist. Don't you have a moral obligation to make these games stay up? And I was like, no.
Basically,
it was the Don Matrick. If you want to play these games, says we have a system.
Yeah, Xbox 360.
Hey, you know what people don't remember? And I might be doing a video on this tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. There was an actual 360 that was introduced at that show, so his phrasing actually makes sense.
The E.
Yep. Yeah, that was shown there for about 60 seconds.
when it comes to everybody that like says stuff here, like I agree with it. The only thing that I kind of push back on a little bit is like I look back at the Wii era, you know, and I've spoken, and like the Wii era had all this stuff and piracy was through the roof. There is still a separate set of people that just want free stuff. There are crazy amounts of piracy on the Switch. There was crazy amounts of piracy on the Xbox 360. That system was insane, and they offered everything for people to buy. So I think that there are some people that they want something, but they also don't want to support it. And that's the issue. That's the issue that I have. This, like, what you guys are saying is I'm with you guys. But there are tons of people who didn't support them, that refuse to show their Wii U memories, refuse to show what they bought, refuse to show anything, but then want to cry foul when you didn't support it.
I think that's the smallest fraction. For the 3DS, I'll fully agree, because the 3DS is so easy to hack.
I disagree. I've seen so many people that nobody supported these systems. And I see what MVG's saying. Nobody supported it, but now you're upset. you've got to support something if you want to see something continue.
Nobody's
okay,
supported
guys.
the
I hate
3DS.
Blockbuster. Blockbuster sucks ass. It's terrible. Oh, but I'm sad to see it go.
That's
You
why
know
I'm
what
not
saying?
surprised
Like,
as much
what?
about the Wii U, but the 3DS was the one that surprised me a bit because that was heavily supported with like 75 million units or
It
something
still is.
sold.
It's still selling in Japan.
What I related to is, and there was talks about the Vita store closing down.
Oh, we're gonna get to that.
I just bought a Vita, so if I would have bought this, and I bought games on the digital storefront because they're cheaper to do it that way.
Nobody bought the Vita when it was out.
But I don't care.
We tried to spread the good word to Sean.
What does that have to do with me right now? I just bought one of these, so I would like to give Sony and all the companies some money.
Want Sony to support forever a system that sold 14 million units?
Not new games, but you could give me the games that are available on the digital market.
I think that people need to support stuff. Support it so that you can continue getting support. That's what I think. When the Vita got closed down, or when I said, oh well, people didn't buy that, so like I understand, like I get it. The PS3 and the PSP that sold like almost 200 million units combined. Those were really popular. I completely get that, and I see what you guys are saying. What I'm saying is that you can't not support anything and it sells like terrible trash and then expect it to continue for forever. Like if it's like the Vita sold so bad, are they going to really make those games available for forever?
But this just feels like the companies have the plan to go forward to always shut it down. I mean, I after reading a lot of these things, I thought it was funny that the one digital store I've been using since the PlayStation 2, and it hasn't shut down because people support it. And it's like,
because people support it.
What defines support?
You've got to buy games for it to continue.
But that's the problem. I've been changing hardware and it's constantly moving forward, so it's always with it. Whereas you have to buy the next system, and the next system doesn't work with it, so they might as well just get rid of it, right? Eventually, because that's their plan.
I mean, OJ, you're not wrong, but I also go, point back to the 3DS. That was just, I mean, it absolutely sold like hotcakes, man, and like a lot of games sold really well, and the result is the same. And I think the frustration really is, there's no kind of roadmap to say, but don't worry, we're going to be working on something else. Like the Spartacus thing with, like, there's some talk that they're going to bring PS3 and PS2 games and stuff to that service. That none of that has actually happened yet, so it's only talk right now. But it seems like Sony has some type of plan, right, to bring their library forward, right? At least based on Shirai's report. With Nintendo, we don't really seem to know anything about what their future holds. And going back and looking at the Wii, it doesn't sound like there's anything in the works. And I think that's really the sad part about the whole thing. It's not about necessarily about, sales. It's about what are you going to, how are you going to, bring some of these games forward? And I'm not talking about the entire library of Wii U games. Like most of them can just, it's not really that.
They almost got all of them.
Yeah, they did. I mean, most of them already have been ported anyway.
The virtual console, and like I said, I agree with what, like I said, I don't disagree with what you guys were saying. Heck, I agree with many of the points. My issue is that, like I said, you have career clout chasers and people that legitimately don't support at all, and then want to be upset. And then when I call them on that, like I said, I'm not going to call names, but you guys have seen people that I've quote tweeted and stuff that are sit there and rile people up and refuse to show what they've purchased, refuse to show what they've bought, how they've supported, but yet you want things to continue.
It's
like,
that's what I'm saying.
Like tons of check marks too, like lots of check marks and people like that. So that's what I'm saying.
OJ, I agree with you. I mean, there is a human psyche thing that says in our minds that says if you take something away from us that we have, we're not going to be happy about it. And it doesn't matter if you were ever invested in that. If you have some level of involvement, and even if it's like 0.1%, if you take something away from me, then I'm going to complain about it. And I think that's
how I was raised. That's called a fake ass bitch. If you want me to be if you want me to be real, that's how I was called a fake ass. That's called a fake ass person. I'm sorry. I can't vibe with people who don't support something who want to speak out against it but don't truly believe in it. If you believe in something and you support it,
but
you're sitting here and cry foul 10 years later. You had a decade. And then we have the career Ash Ketchums, the people that say, I'm 10 years old back then. You've been 10 for like 10 years or 11 years now. The system's been available. You've been Ash Ketchum. You've been Bart Simpson for forever. You have those people too, but they have all sorts of Xbox and PlayStation. Like I said, I agree with you guys, and I'm not disagreeing. What I'm disagreeing with is some of the people who have done nothing to support and somehow get upset. If you take something away, okay. But like I said, I guess that's a different way of raised. My parents did not raise me to not support something.
You're getting mad at Twitter weirdos. I just want to say these are Twitter weirdos.
I can give you guys names later. I'll give you guys names later.
Put in the chat.
But conceptually speaking, I mean, I'm not that into Halo, but John is, and if Halo Infinite suddenly starts to crash and burn and he's like, no, I want to keep playing it, I would feel personally bad for him, and if there was something possible to help it go forward.
I gotta admit, I did feel kind of bad for Evan with the whole Battlefield thing, because it would come up in the news and I'd be like, man, I know, and I look over and Evan's playing Battlefield.
I'm playing it. It was feeling fine for me, and next thing you know, people are like, I can't shoot things from range because I suck at shooting, and I'm like, I'm sorry for you.
I'm busy browsing the PlayStation Vita store to support people.
Well, so that's the point I was about to make.
Updated that Vita store in so long.
You go buy Vitas and support it now. You know, it was sucked and it was trash when it was there, but now it's awesome. Everybody go buy and support it.
Well, no. But so seriously, I have a big.
Let me get my Vita out.
I'm a huge believer in vote with your wallet. So I actually, a lot of times if I enjoy a game and I want to give money to the developers, like I just bought Chrono Cross. I have every single Square Enix RPG. I paid real money for it. Hey, no, I love them. I mean, they're a little bit overpriced on Vita. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but it's still like, I just am playing through Chrono Cross right now, you know? God, that's much more beautiful than mine there, OJ.
This is a Japanese
exclusive,
Ice Blue PS Vita.
With your Vitas combined, you are Captain Discontinued.
Like this is every Vita that was ever released in this one stream.
Such a beautiful unit.
Yeah.
You know,
I have the orange one. I have the orange one too.
I've got a white Japanese one, so we're gonna find it.
Well,
I wanted the Final Fantasy X one. That one looks cool. Good.
My point is that I just hate that once they close those stores down, because you can't buy stuff. Like that's what feels weird, is that we're at a point where, like, even if you want to support the developers, even if you are late to the train, there's a Wii U downstairs in my house boxed. I'll be honest, I don't know where the hell it came from, and at this point, I'm not too motivated to hook it up, because even if I buy something, now I know the whole store is about to basically get Thanos.
My only concern is the idea of the re-downloads just going away. That it would be concerning. I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but that is. I didn't think we'd get to that point in like 3 or 4 years.
Can you still re-download Wii games? Because I mean, that would be a good temperature check.
I don't know. That's a good question. I haven't checked it.
I mean, if you can't, then I'd be worried. If you can, then I'd
someone
say
should check that. Someone out there, see if you can re-download a Virtual Console game or something. See if that's possible on the original Wii
from the Wii shop.
Yeah, find the one unhacked Wii.
I don't think you can download anything from the Wii shop anymore, right?
Yeah, I don't think you can.
Yeah, it's completely cooked, which is like MVG said, that's the problem. Like I said, I 100% agree with that. They need a much better solution, you know, going forward. And I'm hoping with this whole app thing but you still, you know, it's a subscription service. You can't buy the games individually. So like there's the issues with that, you know? So like I said, I'm with you guys on that. What I'm not with is the people not supporting and drowning the system, you know?
But if the Virtual Console itself is limited anyway, in the sense that you won't be able to re-download games later on, like, isn't it basically a subscription service anyway? I mean, yeah, you've bought it, you own it, and you have to keep like paying yearly. But if they all go away anyway, then tech the subscription service would be the better option, since it would carry over to the next system, we'd assume. So I don't even know what you said. Well, so the idea here is you bought the Virtual Console game, right? And we're hearing, you might not be able to re-download it.
Okay.
In the future, like let's say they actually do shut this down to where you can't even re-download them on the Wii U. Well, then all you've really done is just borrow the game anyway.
But I mean, to be fair on Nintendo at that point, it's like Sony has the same problem with PlayStation 3 and stuff like that, right? I mean, it's
for streaming.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the only thing we can hope for that Nintendo is thinking about, you know, maybe bringing some of these games back, or maybe, you know, providing more systems for like the Virtual Console, you know, later on. It's really all what I'm looking for. I don't want. I get it. Like everything has an end of life date, right? So all things have to stop at some point.
Everything dies.
Everything dies. Yeah.
Everything dies.
But I mean, it would just be really kind of reassuring to customers, fans, whatever, to say, look, we have to do this, but stay tuned because we will have some announcements whenever. And I think that'd be enough, for I think a lot of people to be like, okay, well, we'll see what Nintendo has, for us.
Oh, what happens to physical games on the Switch if they shut those servers down in 15 years and you can't download half the game?
Well, I'll be dead by then.
You tell me.
I hope so.
You'll be dead in 15 years?
I hope so.
I'm probably
checking your clock.
There's no way you're going to be, unless you commit something.
Nah,
there's no way you're going to be dead in 15 years.
Nah, man.
I think John.
I figure I'm on borrowed time anyways.
I think
no way.
John,
stop it,
John. I think the answer you're looking for is Yuzu and ROMs.
God. Okay. Well, here's the other question. When Sony announced their closures, they got hit pretty hard. Like, I think I'm going to say the backlash was bigger for Sony when they announced PS3, Vita, and PSP closures.
Because it was systems that people cared about.
Because it was who determines whether you care about it or not? Sorry, I'm downloading Injustice: Gods Among Us Ultimate Edition by Warner Brothers Studios for $20.
You're 8 years too late. You should have did it when the PS Vita when they needed it.
They still need it.
No, I mean, when it comes to the like I said, I kept the same energy. Like when I actually said this back in March when people were asking me, man, like what about if the eShops for the Wii U close? And I'm like, look, they're gonna close it. Like I have the VOD and everything. I said they're gonna close it, and when they do, it's going to be like I'm gonna be like whatever. I'm not as big on like you guys are more classic people than me in terms of playing old games. I've already bought these games and played them a million times, so like I don't really care as much. But like with Sony, like the PS3 sold like almost 90 million, right, or like 90 million. The PSP sold like 80 something million, and then the PS Vita on top of that sold more than the Wii U. So I mean, like that's just a lot. That's a lot of people, So that's what I'm saying. I think that they got, and then also I think with Sony, they were closing that same year, right? So it was only like 6 months.
They gave 4 months for credit cards, so a month longer than Nintendo, and then they were going to close, I think, 3 months after that. So it was like 6 or 7 months afterwards they would close, and it seemed to catch developers off guard more than anyone.
Yeah, it caught some of the developers that were still making games off guard, and on top of that, like I said, it's just like the systems were more popular. More people still actually were active. I almost bet more people were probably active on those stores than what Nintendo had with it. I mean, that's what I would think. That's why I think the backlash was just pretty crazy. You got 3 systems that were popular, that sold a lot. Then obviously I think probably did better digital too. Probably did a lot better digital sales. So that's why I think the backlash was there. Just more people.
The 3DS was more popular.
Just hack your 3DS. I got a video coming out tomorrow about it. So
just go ahead and DM that to me.
Yeah, let me be clear. 3DS sold more than the Vita. Yes, but between the PS3, the PSP, and the Vita,
PSP, yeah.
Yeah, that's like 200 million system sales. And like I said, the Vita did still do better than the Wii U. And the 3DS, while it did great, don't get me wrong, like I think it did great. It's still the worst selling Nintendo mainline portable of all time. Like, and it was around for forever. It was around for a decade. I think when did the 3DS come out?
2011, yeah.
2011. The Game Boy Advance smoked it in like
so it came
way
out
less time.
Yeah, so it came out at the same time as basically the Vita, right? They were right next to each other.
Yeah, and like I said, the Game Boy Advance sold 80. It sold over it, and it sold it in way less period of time, like 4 or 5 years. It sold that. So like Nintendo's other systems were like the 3DS, the Game Boy, all did way better than the 3DS. I think people like the 3DS. I think it was good. But I don't know if it was as beloved as their other systems, considering that it was on the market for a decade plus and couldn't even reach what the Game Boy Advance did in a fraction of the time.
I'm curious about software sales because I felt like everybody was talking about 3DS games every week. But that also,
there's like 300 some odd million pieces of software on there.
3DS software wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, but it definitely didn't hit where
387 million units of software on the 3DS versus the Game Boy Advance is like 377, so it was a bit more on the 3DS, and the Game Boy was like 500. So
3DS had the advantage of having the digital, like a eShop. You know, Game Boy Advance, everything was cartridges.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, Game Boy Advance, there's all sorts of crazy stuff that people do with that system. I've seen you guys' videos on that.
I think it's the 3DS. I think the 3DS is the one that surprised. Like the Wii U, if they just announced just the Wii U, it'd be like, yeah, okay. I guess that I can't, guys. I can't imagine there were more than like 100 people on that thing in like a month or so. It had to have been like none. The only thing that's a shame are there are going to be some unique experience missed here, because that's when Nintendo was like their most creative, was during that generation.
And the thing is, you know, even if you emulate 3DS stuff, you still need a 3DS piece of hardware in order to use the 3D effects. Now, granted, a lot of people didn't like those, but still, I mean, some of the games I felt enhanced it, or some of the games were built around that. So you can't
the
do
3D
that
Sega Ages games, for example.
Exactly. You can't get that same experience on your fucking computer.
Or I was gonna say, what's that? I'm a big fan of Super Mario 3D Land. I know people kind of hate on it, but that had puzzles where you had to turn the 3D on to look behind stuff.
So that was
great.
I love that game.
What's that going to be then? Like a 12-year life on the 3DS?
Yep.
Wait, hold on. How
11 years?
The Wii U? 10 or 11 years on the Wii U?
We used 2012. I think 3DS came out. It was 2011, right? When the 3DS came out?
Yeah, so 11 and 12-year cycle then for each. Okay, so is that because now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, are we getting an 11 or 12-year cycle out of the Switch, or is that going to be longer? It's for its store, because it seems like they want to run this thing for a while.
I think the store is going to transfer. I think they're going to use the same. Personally, I think it's going to transfer.
Transfer to what?
Right.
Their next Switch.
Like they'll just keep using the same
Switch. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I zoned out.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I don't think that 3DS. Like, I agree with John. Like, I think that's rough for the 3DS considering how many units are out there. So yeah, I agree on that.
I don't know if it's going to transfer. I don't know.
It's going to be an interesting time whenever Nintendo's ready to show what their next thing. That's going to be.
You got to look at past history to determine the future, and past history tells you that things may not transfer.
The next system has to be backwards compatible. It has to be. Hold on.
Well,
I have no hope.
I have zero hope. The way when it comes to like GameCube, Wii was backwards compatible. Wii to Wii U, you could transfer stuff from Wii to Wii U. You could transfer. So they did do that, and that was backwards compatible. I think the Switch was obviously a complete break. From what Furukawa has stated, it seems like they're,
Sorry, talking to myself.
No, it's all good. From what Furukawa has stated, it seems like he says that they're just going to absorb what they're going to do with the Switch. They say, hey, we have to keep this going. It's everything that it sounds like that they want to just move from the Switch and just absorb everything that they're doing to the next system. Before the Switch to the Wii U to the Switch, backwards compatibility was pretty good. We had multiple gens. I mean, they didn't do complete backwards compatibility like Sony did, like with the first, PS1, PS2, PS3, but they always did the previous system before that. And even like with the portables, like, you have like DS, GBA or, GBA to DS, you had DS to 3DS. Those were backwards compatible as well. So I would expect if it's successful, right, Switch is successful, I would expect them to just do backwards compatibility. That's what I would expect. But we'll see.
It'll be interesting. Okay. Evan, we have a Discord question.
I guess on the same topic, we see a ton of effort going into preservation, whether it be ROM dumping, emulating both hardware and software, as well as even reverse engineering servers to run games like Phantasy Star Online or Metal Gear Online. But what happens in the future when it's all streaming? Capture data and recreate it.
You have zero ownership when it just goes to streaming, so I don't know what to tell you. It's just like I don't. Here's hoping.
I don't think everything's going to be all streaming, no matter. I think that
they want it though.
Yeah,
they want it, but I don't think it will be.
I feel like technology will continue to increase. They get more control. They understand that, and I feel like they almost want it to get there. It's just I don't know if it's going to happen anytime soon, but who knows? I mean, 100 years from now. Who knows?
Well, yeah, like then maybe, but like the internet companies don't want to give that up because that means you need good internet, and they throttle on purpose, they limit you on purpose, they jack your internet speeds on purpose. So until the internet companies don't want to be like that, then there's no way.
I think game companies still like it because the idea of everybody paying a subscription fee, and also they can make much more strictly enforced terms of service, because if you do anything they don't like, you can just perma-ban somebody's entire console, basically.
All bets are off now. Nintendo's in the mix, and they're usually the last one there. All bets are off for subscription services now. It's a subscription world. Maybe a streaming world's next.
I do think that's what's going to happen. From what I've heard, everybody wants that. Like companies want that. Players don't.
Stadia failed though. So that set them back some years.
Thank
Yeah,
God.
but now you know what this means, right? Now it's going to start spreading because they're not going to keep it just to their own platform. Now they're trying to license Stadia out. And the tech's actually good. So now other companies are going to be like, oh, we could use this. So Capcom's looking at it. Bungie's looking at it. Who knows? Maybe they make an under the table deal with Nintendo and all of a sudden we get stuff streaming there. Never know. Could get out of control quick.
Grew all of that.
I mean, I'm hoping it's like way off into the future. So to the point where I've just picked up so much from my backlog that as soon as they go only available streaming, I could be like, all right, let me get the PS6 out. I'll get back to that. Or the Nintendo, I don't know, whatever they call the next system. Got another question there, Evan?
I guess outside of the hope of backwards compatibility, what new experience will the next gen Switch provide?
Oh gosh, that's the thing. Everyone's trying to think about what it could be, and I don't think any of us are going to guess it. It's going to be some weird thing.
Impossible to say what it's going to be.
It is going to be. I don't know. I mean, they can market things like higher refresh screens and like different types of rumble, or I don't know. I feel like they'll build off the idea of incorporating the controller like Sony has with the DualSense, with their own ideas around the triggers and other things. But like, what's that big hook that they come up with? Because hybrid is like out there now. They can't just be like, oh, the next one's a hybrid. They have to have Nintendo feels like they probably have to do something extra on top of that.
Foldable
Get a
screen.
better hybrid.
I mean, it'll be a better hybrid, but like, you know, Nintendo, they're like, we gotta do something even different.
Foldable screens.
I say the same
Foldable
thing
screen,
every
I like it.
generation. Every generation, I just want them to do
Dual screen
something slightly
technology.
more normal.
I like the idea of a foldable screen though, where like you close it and you
Yep.
put it in the dock or something, and you take it out, you open it up,
Yep.
and it's like, see, I like that idea. That would be pretty cool for them to mess around with that, because the foldable screen is like most of cell phones. Even then, it's kind of like, it's not very good, really. But I can see Nintendo doing some interesting stuff with that. Okay. Well, we'll come back to this podcast in like 5 years. You got another one, Evan?
Besides games, does anyone ever use their consoles to watch streaming services?
Oh yeah,
all the time.
all the time.
Xbox is so good. It's like the greatest streaming box ever.
Yep.
It really is, man. Xbox Series X, it's so good. I have an Xbox One X in my bedroom, and I have an Xbox One X in my bedroom. That's good. And then I have in my living room, I have an Xbox Series X, and it's so good for like the apps and like the Twitch, and even like the Twitch and all that runs better than like PlayStation. Like even all that's even better. Like the encryption, like if you have like a capture card plugged in, they don't ask you like, hey, you can't do this. Like, you know, Sony does that like with the whole, you guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah. HDCP.
Yeah. You don't got to worry about that at all on Xbox. It's fantastic. So heck yeah.
I'll be honest, I've never watched anything. I'm actually surprised y'all do. I've never watched a single second of Twitch, YouTube. I've never installed the apps or anything on my console.
I have I usually watch my computer here, and then I have my monitor over here for my consoles. But I've used them for like especially my 360 got used a lot because they had the entire library of videos you could buy, and occasionally I would get like a season of something and watch. That was before Netflix like came about on
Didn't
it.
they just drop Crunchyroll on the Switch?
Yeah, I have that on my PC.
There you go.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll load it on the Switch.
I got Crunchyroll on my Xbox, so I just
Might have to get Sean like a free month of that so we can catch up on Dragon. Ball.
Off.
It's the greatest series of all time.
Sean, I think you would like Demon Slayer. You should watch Demon Slayer.
No, I'm watching Euphoria. That's my new jam.
Okay, I heard that I saw that you're watching that on Twitter. You just like the naked people in there. That's all. He just likes the naked people in there. That's it.
No, it's fucking amazing writing, and like I like the drug dealer dude because it's like part
it's
me,
you if you
part
didn't become a
95% of the
YouTuber.
people
Yeah.
I hung out with in high school, and it's like, wow, I relate to this guy.
What?
Sorry.
I gotta watch this show.
All right.
Good shit.
All right. Yeah, hit me with one more, Evan, and then we'll look at some super chats. Then we'll go to the Capcom stuff to finish up.
Does anyone know the situation for Sifu on PC? Apparently, it is only on the Epic Game Store. Is it a timed exclusive?
I would say probably yes.
Probably, yeah.
Might be one of
their half year or full year excuses.
Very good game though. If it shows up on Steam, you should pick it up, Evan.
I probably will. Yeah.
I recommend it. Get that controller. Get the sticks ready.
I got them. I got a couple options.
Get the sticks.
So, have you seen the John Wick mod? Somebody already.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool.
So good.
Yeah, that would be. I think that's a game you'd have fun with, Evan. And let me go to super chats here. TJ says, "Why?" People pretending that the digital shop closures don't affect physical copies. Blaze Blue Extend on Vita had to have its story mode as DLC to fit on the cart, and Xenoblade Chronicles X has the optional high-res downloads.
I don't think anyone's, saying that. Like, when a store closes, it definitely affects physical copies.
The re-download for the free stuff is the one that I guess surprised me a little bit, but I guess they want to knock out the demos. However, you might want to go on there, I guess, just download them just in case, so you have them. So, Mobile Gaming Master Race says console PC gaming is garbage, mobile gaming is king. Have fun playing broken $70 games plus microtransactions when I can play better games for free with a few microtransactions.
Raid Shadow Legends, baby.
I like this. No, I like this new character. This is awesome. Mobile gaming. This is unique though, because usually we have Xbot or PlayStation fan or something. This is good. A mobile gaming fanboy account. I like it. Well done, Mobile Gaming Master Race. That's good stuff. I'm actually excited now. All right, cool. Doomslayer says, just had surgery and I'm laid up for 2.5 weeks. Thanks to all of you for keeping me company with your content for the recovery period.
Get better.
Yeah, man. Heal up.
Cloaked says Nintendo shutting down 3DS store is bad. Many games need to download a patch so that save data isn't corrupted. Pokemon XY comes to mind. The updates are still, you can still download the updates. That's something they mentioned, just so you're aware. But if they stop that, then that would become a problem, which that's still kind of this rumor from Nintendo Life right now. So just keep it in mind. Hype says, what game did you enjoy more, Horizon or Arceus? Well, I'm like 5 hours into Horizon, so I need to play more of Horizon. I liked Arceus for what it was and more for the potential of the future in that series, because the game looks pretty rough, but Horizon's been very fun for the 5 hours I've played, and it sounds like I need to go through quite a bit more before I can make that judgment.
I haven't played enough of Horizon, but I've played 70 plus hours of Arceus, and I really like the game. But I haven't played enough of Horizon. So actually, I haven't played it at all. I haven't played Horizon. Not enough. I haven't played it at all. I need to play it.
I did 25 hours of Pokemon Arceus, and I enjoyed it. But I'm almost 50 hours into Horizon, and I definitely think I enjoy all 50 hours of that more. Just by a slight margin, but I do.
This is from Daniel saying, I can't put down Dying Light 2 bugs and all. I have Forbidden West, but I want to finish the story of Dying Light before I jump into the Forbidden West.
I put it down.
I finished Dying Light 2. I beat that.
Bored of it. I
love it.
I beat it. They have different endings.
How many hours did you put in MVG? Got bored of it.
Probably about 10 to 15.
Really? I think I beat Dying Light 2 in like 20 some odd hours. So you're actually getting close to the end then.
The first game is so much better.
You know what? I'm
hold
actually going to agree with you on that.
The story.
I'm just getting into the franchise. I just bought the first game. So why is it so much better?
The story of number 2 is pretty bad.
It's kind of bad, yeah.
I saw Max's video, and he said like the story wasn't really clicking.
My sister.
I got to agree. The story is just kind of made me feel like I'm going to
tried to be really smart towards the end and have this big plot twist, and it was supposed to be this moment where you're like, "Whoa!" And I was just kind of like, "All right, what's next?"
Yeah, okay.
It's the part sometimes, but when it's good, it's really good. And then when it's bad, it like makes you want to pull your hair out. So it's unfortunate. I think in like 5 years, we're going to come back and be like, this game is really good. It just took 5 years to get there.
It's like, Black Flag era Assassin's Creed where, like you just hold down and most of the time it works, but sometimes you just do some really weird moves.
But now you see the new Assassin's Creed and there's like, wow, okay, the climbing is very good here.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking. They're going to support it for 5 years. I might actually check back in 5 years.
Introducing Discover Online Privacy Protection. We'll help remove your personal data from 10 popular people search websites. Because the thing about your personal information is that
5 years or so many years if they have big updates to see how it goes. But
I beat it. Girlfriend, she's addicted to it. My girlfriend already has over 100 hours in Dying Light 2.
Jeez.
Wow.
We play it co-op all the time.
Wow.
I could see co-op being fun in that game. I mean, that would definitely maybe open up the game a little bit, and I could probably co-op with someone. But
it does have shared progression. That's the weirdest part. No shared progression. So we're playing in her city, and we're doing everything in her city. But now, even though I'm super leveled up, like it's weird.
Luna says Breath of the Wild 2 will kill Horizon 2 chance of Game of the Year if it comes out this year.
Absolutely.
I don't even know what Breath of the Wild 2 looks like yet. Like in terms of like. We don't have the title for the game yet. we got to see what they're going to do with it. But I think there are going to be some really big titles that come out this year that may end up having us forget about Horizon by the end of the year. It also has that thing where it came out in February. It's like,
the same
remember it by the end of the year at this point.
The same thing happened back in 2017,
Yeah.
So like, true. I mean, it'll be tough. I think, like I said, Horizon's still it'll be in the conversation.
We're still trying to figure out if Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out this year. We assume it is, but you never know.
Nope.
You never know.
We still need to see what other we know God of War is coming out.
Elden Ring could be the big title. You never know, that could be the highest.
Like we don't know
the second half game of the year.
87.
What's the second half library for all these companies?
That's
we
true.
only know like a few. Like,
That's true.
What's Microsoft's second half? What are they doing?
They got Starfield.
They got Starfield. If it does come out,
it's going to come out, but it's probably going to come out like late November, so they're going to miss the cutoff anyway.
And jank as hell too. It'll be great.
Is it going to be good? That's another thing. Like, is it actually going to be good?
November. I think it's going to come out, and I think they're going to get the copy out early enough to reviewers.
It's 11/11, right?
Probably get it. Yeah, it'll get in there. I think it'll fit in there, but I think it's going to come out as these games do from Bethesda, and a lot of jank to them. So new engine though. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
New bugs.
Yeah.
New bugs.
King says Horizon Forbidden West for first 5 minutes. I encountered a game-breaking bug where I couldn't progress. $120 game and it's broken. Cool.
Hey, $120. Oh, the special edition.
No, Australian.
Oh yeah, that's the price of video games in Australia.
Yeah.
$70 games translate to $120.
Hey, bro, that's your fault. That ain't worth it, homie. You need to play something else. Wait for that price. That's your fault. You spending that much on a game, and you need to wait.
Visual says Elden Ring is multi-plat, so it won't suffer from biased review bombing. Prepare to be surprised. Everything just gets review bombed nowadays anyway. It doesn't matter.
I mean, Astral Chain got review bombed.
People see people having fun and they're like, none of that. Right. It's time to go to the user scores of Metacritic.
It's only with exclusives, really.
Yeah. Well, I guarantee you there's going to be the whole freaking discussion about difficulty next week. Because this
but Horizon's going to be on PC by the end of the year.
Maybe. We'll see.
Really? Ooh. You think it's going to be that quick?
Oh, I should have said that. No, maybe.
He knows something.
Maybe it might be. We'll see. I think it's. I think the window for Sony's gonna get shorter and shorter. Is what I'm saying. Andy says, "What's good, brothers?"
Go. Wasn't there another part to that?
It's a sausage fest. Bradley says, hope everyone on the cast having a good weekend. MEG, would you ever do a Vita guide on jailbreaking? If you have already, I failed to find it.
I've done them before, but they're probably out of date. I may do another one this year because it's a pretty hot topic right now. But just check out the channel. I've got jailbreaking guides on the Vita. But what I would recommend is rather than look at YouTube videos of guides because they usually go out of date, just go to vita.hacks.guide. That'll always have the most current up-to-date guide, step-by-step instructions. So just go there.
David says, Gran Turismo 7 or Triangle Strategy, which are you picking up March 4th? I'm getting both.
I'm getting both. I'll be honest. The more I see a Gran Turismo, I'm excited for it. But Triangle Strategy is going to be
getting that 25th anniversary steelbook for Gran Turismo.
Ooh, I'm 25 not years. Sports or racing, so I don't buy any sports or racing games. So I'm just getting
25 years. Got to get the storied franchise.
I'll get Gran Turismo.
You're not getting Triangle Strategy, Sean?
No.
Oh. Okay. Swift said, Gran Turismo should be fun. It's looking good. Swift says, no message. Thanks, Swift. Satter says, why do more companies not release older games on PC? I mean, I feel like a lot of them aren't they?
Aren't they all?
Yeah. I feel like that's happening a lot, but
I'm thinking about like a lot of the remakes. I mean, most of them come to PC.
I mean, you can play Chrono Trigger on PC. You can't play it on modern consoles.
That's true. Venetz says Majora's Mask over Ocarina of Time.
Nope.
Weird. Yikes.
Jake says A Link to the Past, but HD2D put this in the universe. I wouldn't mind Nintendo remaking that.
I want Chrono Trigger
and then they just call it Ocarina of Time.
Chrono Trigger HD2D. Like Link to the Past. I mean, would Link to the Past HD2D be better than like whatever they did for? Because I know they did like Link's Awakening. They had like that weird kind of style that they had for Link's Awakening.
Yeah, Link's Awakening just had some weird technical issues as well. The look was cool. It's fun. It played into like the idea of it being a dream and all this. It was fun. So, Casual says, first rule of Nintendo Switch Sports is you don't talk about Switch Sports. Second rule of Nintendo Switch Sports, don't talk about Switch Sports. I don't know what you're talking about. No one here played Switch Sports.
I watched somebody stream it and it looked fun as hell.
Nintendo, I don't think Nintendo's gonna do anything about that either. They were like, that was the biggest bluff ever.
No one wants to go first though.
Exactly.
Just in case.
Bob was streaming and put it on Twitch.
Yeah, Bob uploaded it.
Yeah. His stream was great. I saw him. He was fencing somebody, and he knocked somebody off a platform. And he went, "Don't ever come to Brooklyn."
The thing about Nintendo is, because I've been in trouble with them before, is that they will take their time. They'll hit you whenever they feel like it. It could be 6 months from now, but
They just wait for the right time.
They'll come for you
right before a big game launches,
and they will keep bothering you as well.
They still bothering you, RG2?
No, actually, I've been good for a little bit now, so I think I'm in the clear.
That's good.
I think they gave up
until tomorrow. Email.
Until tomorrow.
Let's talk about Capcom here before we finish up with some of the super chats. How many Discord questions we got left?
4.
Got a couple. Okay, cool. Let's finish up with Capcom then as our last topic, because they have a countdown site up right now. 1 day, 2 hours from now,
until their next countdown.
Which, yeah, I thought about that. That'd be great. That'd be great if this countdown was to a countdown to like a tune in this week. 1 day, 2 hours, which is going to be like middle of the night on Monday for some reason. 1 a.m. Eastern Monday. I don't know what that's about.
It's probably something in Tokyo or in Japan.
Yeah, easy. Japan. That means it's Street Fighter right there. The fact that it's that means it's Street Fighter. It's not anything that's going to be more geared towards.
So there was talks. I think it was Jeff Grubb. Jeff, you're still in the chat.
No, he's not.
You're to blame. You put this out in the world. Street Fighter 6 apparently is what's being lined up to be announced here. It wasn't the Capcom leaks, so we do know it exists.
Wow, they're making a Street Fighter 6.
Whoa, you joke about that, but how many versions of Street Fighter 5 have we had?
Well, but not as many as previous. Not as many as previous.
Like it's still been a lot. I feel like I keep seeing this happen.
Yeah, there's. I think there's like two or three.
That's a lot.
Yeah, no, way less. Because I remember what Street Fighter 4 had.
Just kept going.
Yeah,
7
had like 4. Yeah. Well, and then even Street Fighter 2. Street Fighter 2 had like 6 versions.
Street Fighter 2 had so many. Yeah. They did less this time with it. Maybe that's because it was a Sony console exclusive.
Yep.
But yeah, Street Fighter. It's Street Fighter. Hopefully, they build off of what they've done, because Street Fighter 5 launched in the absolute most pathetic, state.
Street Fighter 5 was pretty bad when that came out.
It was a mess.
Even at launch, I actually liked it. Even at launch, but
you still do half quarter circle, whatever, Shoryuken quarter. Like, it's still the Street Fighter, but the lack of characters, the lack of stages, like the lack of the story mode, like the lack of lots of stuff, especially if you compare it to Street Fighter 4. I think that's where the biggest issue came. Street Fighter 4 was so polished and so good by the time that people were still playing Street Fighter 4, That's the issue. Like, and the style and the announcer. Street Fighter 4 is like, it has drip, it has like sauce, like so much more cool than Street Fighter 5. And I watch all of this. I love competitive Street Fighter. And it just seems like everybody got so much more hype, like with the leagues and everything with Street Fighter 4. Street Fighter 4, like just the energy. If anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, go watch Street Fighter 4 high competitive playing, like the announcer talking and everything like that, and like the art style, and then watch Street Fighter 5. It just feels like they commercialized it to the point to where it was like boring. Street Fighter 4 just has so much more spice and pep to it. So I'm just hoping that they bring some of that back with Street Fighter 6, like some of that swag, that was missing in Street Fighter 5 for a while. It's kind of got it. They've got some cool characters in there now, but it was missing it for a while. So I've been playing Street Fighter for forever, since almost day one.
You think this is going to be another Sony console exclusive one, or are they going to have it on the Xbox as well?
It's very possible. I don't know if Jeff Grubb's still here, so maybe he can shed some light on that. But I guess it said that it's going to be multi-platform. That's what the leak said again, right?
The leak said multi-platform. They had Xbox Series even in there for the leaks. So I feel like people are expecting it, but they could have also just been playing around and testing it, and then Sony could have come in and been like, nah, let's make this a PlayStation thing.
Could have.
PlayStation and PC, obviously. I feel like Sony would have no problem with that going to PC as well.
I don't see the benefit of doing that, though. It's like the benefit of having exclusive Street.
Well, Sony invested as well in
it's all for the money. That's pretty much it.
And I get that, but man, that just seems so, considering where Street Fighter came from and the history of Street Fighter, it just seems so kind of lame to have Street Fighter restricted only on their MPC. Like, I get it, money's money, and it is what it is there, but I don't know, Street Fighter 4 having it on all the different platforms. I mean, you had it on the 3DS. You had it on it's on PS4, it's on PS5, it's on everything, it's on Xbox.
We don't think this is going to be on the Switch at all? Street Fighter 6?
No.
Like, let's say it's multi-plat, there's no deal or anything. You don't think it's on the Switch?
Unless they developed it from day one expecting to have a version,
because it wasn't in the leak internal at Capcom, but I was like, I wonder if they had another company porting it or like working on it, and it wasn't necessarily in Capcom's database, if it would still be like possible that way. But I just noticed that a lot of people are like just accepting it's like it's multi-plat, it's on everything, it just won't be on the Switch. It's very interesting because we've had cases where like fighting games have been pretty good on handhelds that are much weaker than the Switch to their console counterparts. So it's interesting. Capcom's been pretty good on the Switch recently.
You know what's funny?
I mean, like even like Tekken back in the day on the PSP and then the PlayStation 3.
I did the thing where you looked at your 3DS and your Wii U history. You know what my most played 3DS game was?
Street Fighter.
Super Street Fighter 4.
Really? Interesting.
Because I got that game at launch, and me and my buddy, I mean, we stayed up for 12 hours straight playing that shit, and then we would play that. We would run that shit online like all the time because we got the system on day one. So like, you know, then you had Christmas noobs coming along, and you could beat up on them.
It's all about beating up the new players. It's great.
Yeah, Sean's just there. He's like, "Welcome to the system."
Yeah.
I am the gatekeeper.
Do you think this is a quick launch then? Do you think the announcement launch couple months? Like, are we just like, hey, this thing didn't announce February and it's out over the summer?
I think it's going to be very close because they've been working on this for quite. I mean, Street Fighter V is so old at this point in fighting games terms. You know, it's like it's kind of old because it came out in 2016, I think, was it, or 2015?
2016. So it's been 6 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time. So yeah.
And this is going to be using the Resident Evil engine, the RE engine, right?
Oh,
No,
interesting.
I thought they were thinking.
They have to use
I
Unreal
thought they were
Engine-
thinking
I think they're using
Unreal.
Unreal Engine 4.
You really?
Yeah,
Maybe.
I don't trust Capcom to actually rehaul everything.
RE, that'd be crazy if they put it in the RE engine.
Yeah,
I
heard that
like
rumor
it's an
too.
RE engine game.
I mean,
Yeah,
you think they go with the weird? You think they go with like a weird art style and stuff too, or they just keep
I
it basic?
hope so. Anything but that.
4 was pretty
crusty-
interesting when they showed that. I was like, oh, that's kind of a
It's
cool
the
idea.
water paint, kind of like the water paint.
Yeah, that
stuff.
was
It's just-
fun.
It's really fun. It's like I said, it brings the extra sauce to it. Street Fighter 6 is it's like dry, plain. You know what I'm saying? It's like just plain bread. I don't know. There's nothing to it. They've got to do something with this to make it. I mean, I would really want it to be the RE engine because that would be so hype for the tournaments. It would
be
look better.
interesting.
You know?
For the Switch as well.
The rumor was that they wanted to put RE engine on it because all the RE engine games are selling so well, and they just want to make that like the Capcom engine. But who knows?
Yeah, and like I think about, you know, because we think about the RE engine that maybe it's not suited for a game like that. But look at like the Ghosts and Goblins.
Yeah,
thing,
that looks pretty
Resurrection.
good.
I mean, that's running that engine. I mean, clearly there is, you know, scope and scale to run kind of
Flexibility to
2D games.
But if they're aiming for it to be
possible.
cross-platform, how easy would it be if they haven't really attempted
Well,
to have that
yeah.
work between systems? Whereas I believe Unreal claims it does already.
I mean, there's definitely challenges that they would have to figure out. I'm sure, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think you can rule out RE engine for the game.
I think how you do it, if you unveil it and there's a tournament around it, you then have you have people just come in and run a tournament with Street Fighter 6 as soon as you can.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Before it's
they're
even out, you just run a
Oh yeah,
tournament.
yeah. They're probably working with all the guys, you know, that are, you know, like Jam and all those guys that are, you know, deep in the Capcom, stuff and all that. They're probably already getting everything set up. I mean, they made so much money off Street Fighter V and like the people that support Street Fighter V. You know, I'm guessing they're getting everything set up and ready to go for the next Capcom Cup.
That's true, but also there were a lot of people that had like left Capcom or you know were asked. Well, no, they weren't asked to be involved in the next Street Fighter. Like Mike Ross, for example, like he was someone that was really in the fighting game community and. He is no longer involved, and Ono from Capcom obviously has left the company. So you know it's interesting because it seems like there's a bit of a changing of the guard with this next iteration, and I just wonder what this game is going to end up being. I mean, is it going to just be a traditional, you know, one-on-one versus? fighting game, or is it going to be, maybe like 2-on-2 or 3-on-3? I mean, the possibilities here are interesting to see where this goes.
Yeah. I mean, Ross he's an interesting character. I'll just say that right now. He's an interesting guy. For those who want to look up Mike Ross and his story, it's actually very interesting if you haven't done so. But yeah, I mean, like, I'm talking about more like the announcers, the guys that are pretty much employed by, like Tasty Steve and those guys that are like that run the Capcom Cup or that announce it. I mean, yes, guys like Ross, obviously Ono, the development team. I mean, I'm not sure about that. I don't remember who the producer was for Street Fighter 4. They go into Street Fighter 5. They go into hiding because of all the hate sometimes. But I forgot who those guys are completely. But yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying for sure. I know no Ono there this time. It's like they hated that guy so much sometimes, man. He worked himself to to where he passed out and fainted one time. He left Capcom a while ago.
I mean, he was a good guy, but I think that whole, the little Blanca thing that he would photograph himself with everywhere, people were just getting sick of it, man.
I was like, fix the game. Stop showing me Blanca. Blanca's not even in there at the beginning yet. You're showing this Blanca. He's not even in the damn game. Put him in, and then they eventually put Blanca in.
So are people pretty sure that that's what's happening? We don't have any other,
guesses. The other guess, and I've seen a lot of people talking about this, is Resident Evil 8 DLC. They very publicly have said, thank you for the success of Resident Evil. RE7 got a lot of DLC. It seems like they want to do the same thing. And also, I think they publicly said that they're putting a bunch of money into the DLC for Resident Evil 8 to make sure it's big and great. So if they talk about it, I hope that it's like, hey, here it is. Here's the big DLC y'all wanted.
Sure.
I didn't know they were doing DLC.
They're doing a whole bunch. Apparently, they're doing a whole bunch for Village. Yeah. Apparently
they did a live stream where they literally announced it, and people were super happy. I loved Village so much.
That was at E3. That was at E3 when they did that. That was part of their E3.
Well, it was like thank you for supporting the game. We're making DLC, and like that was it.
Yeah.
It was during the Capcom presentation. Someone hosted that, and it was the fucking worst presentation. It was like pointless,
Yeah. It could have been like a couple Twitter drops here and there, but no. I remember that because didn't they show like Ace Attorney for like a hot minute on there?
Yeah, like 15 minutes of gameplay.
And it's Ace Attorney. Ace Attorney's better played, not watched like that.
That's basically JPEGs with voice acting.
A bit more, but that's funny.
So I guess we'll find out Monday. Like 1 a.m. Eastern time, they're just the site's gonna go live. So
what did Jeff Grubb say? Did he say anything? Did he add anything?
He said it's coming on Monday.
Did he say Street Fighter?
That's what he said. It's going to be
other rumors. This weird thing popped up. The Resident Evil portal has been updated. They actually released all this like raw art for Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 that's never been posted publicly in HD. So some people think it may also. The other main rumor I've seen is that it's going to be a classics collection for Resident Evil, which I would be very happy about.
Okay. Could be good. Evan, you want to hit us with some Discord questions?
All right. With Cyberpunk 2077 finally leaving early AAA access, in what ways do you think AAA games are helped and harmed by avoiding the early access label while effectively being an early access?
I mean, I think a lot of them seem to be trying it because they're like, patch, we'll fix it later mentality at this point.
I think the duration of the early access is really a big factor in it because, if you have a game that's been in early access for a long time, when it gets out of early access, people are like, I've already moved on to 2 other games after that, So I don't know. Like I think that early access kind of label can be a blessing or a curse.
It's
Depending
interesting
on...
is the sentiment around Cyberpunk's really started to turn around recently. I noticed that all of a sudden people were like, "This game's great."
Yeah, everyone's mad at me.
Is it really that good?
Yeah, I mean, people seem to be like turning around completely on it compared to where we were just like a little over a year ago, where it was like the worst thing ever created.
I looked at Jez Corden talking about it. He was saying it looks better, but it still crashes every like 10 minutes. So I was like, well, I'm still out until they figure that out.
Yeah, and they didn't really add much content either. Like I was a little disappointed in that.
That was my thing. I put up a video where I showed the fact that the graphics update is bonkers. It looks so amazing with ray tracing, but there's no new quests. And I made a video about that blew up, and a lot of people in the comments are like, "You should be happy that the game works." It's like, okay.
I watched your video. I watched your video on there, and I thought it was interesting. There's people that are liking it. There's people that aren't. I mean, I think the game still sucks, but that's just me. I think it's also a crime that game. I know Evan's gonna kill me on this one, but I think it's a crime that game's not in third person. Like I don't know.
I don't care that if the first person felt good, it would be awesome. But they could do third person. I wouldn't really care about it at that point.
Did you see the third person leak?
Yeah,
where the alpha version of it was third person.
Well, they also found like a command in it or something when they were hacking into it, and they found a way to just activate a third person camera that's already there or something like.
Like you can actually see your character, the outfits, have a cover system, not looking at a wall the whole time, and then hitting with sword. I mean, I don't know.
You got another one for 7.
Atlas launched a site which is teasing something for SMT Soul Hackers. What do you think it is?
Soul Hackers.
Probably. You think it's a sequel? New one?
Soul Hackers. Soul Hackers.
Yeah, I guess sequel or remake. So I guess sequel. Yeah. All right.
I can't. They remade. It was a remake in 2012 on the 3DS. To go remaster a remake.
Another remake. No. It's probably a new Soul Hackers. Probably.
Man, they're gonna remaster a remake. Oh man.
Remaster. That's happened.
Yeah, I know.
I think Star Ocean did that, right?
Yeah.
Star Ocean. Yeah, it was good. No, that game was good though. No, we'll see though. We'll see. Soul Hackers is good. Soul Hackers is a good franchise. It's a good offshoot. There's many offshoots. Devil Summoner, Soul Hackers. Yeah, it's good. We'll see.
Is there a better marketing strategy to get people talking about and interested in your big update than Cyberpunk letting you receive lewd texts?
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Okay.
No, all right.
The romantic. They made it where whenever you're pursuing somebody romantically and you're doing their quests, they'll basically send you like thinking about that thick dick. It's like hell yeah.
Okay.
Do you think Nintendo was sitting on the announcement of remastered retro courses until after sales hit a certain point, or do you think they decided to do this recently?
With the Mario Kart stuff?
That's my guess. Yeah.
I don't think this is their plan all along. I cannot imagine they put Mario Kart on the Switch and they were like, this is definitely going to be a 40 million plus seller.
I also don't think when it hit the recent number, they were like, we should probably do something with the old courses. At that
it was probably
moment.
like last year. They were like, yeah, let's start drawing this out. Let's figure this out. So, that was certainly not something they were expecting, I would say, 5 years ago almost. So, got any more, Evan?
Nah, that's it. We're good.
Okay. Sebastian asks, Intellivision Amico or Soulja Boy console?
None of the above.
Well, the Soulja Boy console was just a reskinned Alibaba console, so his was already out. It came
out though.
Yeah, his was. And even though he can't really have his name on it, you can go buy the original anyway. So
man, it did come to market. It's hard to argue with that.
And like the hype around, like the videos around the Amico are just better. So I'm gonna take the Amico.
There you go. Hector says, for all thoughts on the Postal port coming out for Dreamcast in June. Also for MVG X Postal still in the works.
I had no idea Postal was coming out for the Dreamcast. That's kind of cool. X Postal, I'll clean it up and release it one day. I've just been really busy. I may just release the source or something. But
there you go.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. This is the company that's doing it. They actually keep mailing me games.
Oh, sweet.
That's cool.
Yeah, these people, they keep making new Dreamcast games.
Games.
They're porting Dreamcast games as well. So
nice.
That's fun.
They send me everything. They're great. I'm gonna play that. I'm gonna beat the hell out of Postal. That's awesome.
Daniel says, have any of you tried out Chrono Trigger on iOS? Is it worth trying out on there for $10?
No.
I mean, the fact that I assume iOS because you already have the phone or device that it's on. So, I mean, Chrono Trigger for $10 is pretty good. That's a good game, but you have to look
On
in to see
iOS.
what your controls are there, because touch
No.
screen controls on that, that's
No,
tough.
I'm not. No, not on iOS. Get it on PC. Get it on the Vita store before it shuts down. Is that shut down yet? Get it on there, or do whatever else you need to get it, but don't do it there. Buy a Super Nintendo copy, brand new. Nintendo wants.
Get on the
right?
DS if you need to be on the go with you. The DS version's very good. It's just very expensive.
Yeah, $200 for a brand new copy. I bought it for $60.
right.
I was like, this is gonna go up in value.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Geeky says John Cartwright's video about leakers was hilarious and made Samus Hunter on Twitter really mad.
Who?
There it is.
She was
that was
like
a
the
good video
female
by
version
John.
of Malding, right? That was definitely Malding on Twitter.
That was a good
great to
video by
see.
John, though. That was
So
good.
good. Samus Hunter had like 50 cope tweets. Actually, I'm the best leaker. It was so good.
There was definitely some copium going on, but it's all good, man.
Oh yeah.
Matthew says, I bought a GameCube from a local retro shop here in Sacramento, opened it up, found a small cockroach living inside. Have any of you guys had an experience like that? Love the show. Keep it up. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, bricks
yeah.
of them.
When I bought my
You saw
GameCube.
one? Ooh.
We've seen quite a few of those from
Cockroaches,
customer.
GameCubes.
Yeah.
It's a
I bought
good
a
combination.
PlayStation 1 once on eBay. First thing, I think it was the second or third thing I ever bought on eBay was a PlayStation 1, and it came and it was full of blood. Where somebody had
What the?
Yeah, well,
Actually,
somebody-
like the weirdest things
somebody had
happened.
and the outside of the console was so clean. It looked somebody had opened it up and like cut a dog's throat in it or something.
Oh my god, that's
Did
crazy.
it scream as
It
you
was
cut it?
gross.
Like what?
It was very gross. I was like, this is probably a crime scene.
Edge says, you all have really helped me with this podcast and your other content for 3 years now. Thanks so much to those of the cast that can't make it. Tijo says, if they put the entire 3DS and Wii U libraries on Switch, wouldn't they have to put in work to remove all the hardware features present on those platforms?
Yeah. I mean, it's late and I don't want to talk about too much, but porting 3DS games would be very, very difficult.
I would imagine.
Very
yeah,
difficult.
That'd be a whole thing. But if they had a foldable Switch,
If they had a foldable Switch, maybe they could bring it.
All right,
Give it to us.
Make it okay. Yosemite
VHS,
says,
baby.
Nintendo, we're making games less accessible. Also, Nintendo, why are people pirating our games? What costs more, a giant legal team or servers? Well, Nintendo's not going to go after everyone. They're just going to go after the sites. The Toxic says they will port Xenoblade Chronicles X to the Switch the week after the Wii U shop closes to get people to double dip on the game. Review says all Nintendo has to do is 1, give us better online close to Xbox and PlayStation. 2, add GameCube GBA to the membership. 3, add achievements and trophies.
Simple.
Ship it.
Simple. Ship it. Robert, no messages. Thanks, Robert. V says, EJ says, tuning in while playing the redacted play test. Big says, all consoles should have transgenerational e-stores.
That's what we're gonna get going forward.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, we'll see, but I believe
I
that's what
think so.
Nintendo's working towards with this account system. So
I think everyone's just gonna do that going forward. Yeah. I think.
Jeff says, is it expensive to keep the servers up for purchasing and downloading Wii U and 3DS games? What about Virtual Console? I mean, it costs something.
Yeah, I mean,
free,
at some
but-
point they're going to be upside down on costs, right? And probably the Wii U was probably the first 12 months.
There's stuff with
honestly.
payment processing as well. I know that, which is why that's gone in 3 months, because that's something they want to get resolved, I'm sure. Brian says, what if Sony used Bungie to help develop Time Splitters 4 as their online multiplayer shooter? That game was huge on its time. Yeah, I think that's Deep Silver and like Embracer Group. That's Time Splitters is like nowhere near Sony and Bungie right now, but there is a new Time Splitters game coming out, so it's gonna probably be a couple of years. By the way, no one ever talks about Embracer Group. They are massive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Like they make up like 30% of gaming or something crazy.
No,
I looked at their video-
I've seen your videos on it, and it's just like I hear about them, but they're like there's not stuff yet, you know.
They have 80 something games in development right now.
Yeah, so like
It's
when they actually start
crazy.
releasing stuff, then people will talk about them more. But
They own Saber, like Saber Interactive's owned by them.
Hmm.
So it's I think what Gearbox too. There's a bunch of like studios you wouldn't believe are under there are like part of their parent company. It's interesting stuff. Ruffle says people were still developing games for the Vita. That's why. And what's a safe way of downloading ROMs for Cemu? Nearly got a virus last attempt. That is the game you play. You just got to look around. I guess Google it and be careful because we can't exactly. I don't think it's a good idea for people to be getting sources from other people on here or anything. So
what you could do is rip your own games. There's ways to do that.
Yes, everyone rips their games.
Yeah, I'm dumb as a bag of hammers, but even I can do it.
There you go.
Hellman says Breath of the Wild was better on the Wii U. Sheikah Slate was made for the tablet. The Wii U also has folders. Wii U is better than Switch.
I can't play Breath of the Wild anywhere. The fact that I can take my Switch and play Breath of the Wild anywhere makes it better. Makes the Switch really better.
Saw someone on a train with their Wii U with the tablet part. So they were playing that wherever they wanted. As long as the power outlet was somewhat nearby.
Comes the Wii U revisionist coming through. It's always better on the Wii U. Here comes the Wii U. Here comes the revisionist. The virtual console is the greatest thing. The Wii U's. Yeah, there we go. Here it comes.
Man. This is Sobo says it's been 2 years since you reported on a canceled Xbox game coming to Switch. Any new updates on it from anyone on the panel, and why is it scale bound? Well, apparently parts of Scalebound were used for the new Bayonetta, so there you go.
Yeah,
also, Platinum really wants to make that game again.
That makes sense. Now that I never put two and two together, but that totally makes sense. Because like the Demon Slave mechanic, like where you just have those big old huge demons just that are just on screen. Yeah, they totally reused that crap.
Also, real quick, you guys think Platinum's getting bought in the next 2 years?
Yes.
Probably.
Wow, interesting. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Who do you guys think is the number one candidate to buy them next year?
Tencent.
Oh. I am gonna say one day people are gonna wake up and be shocked that Microsoft bought Platinum.
Really?
I think that is going to shock people if that happens.
I still think it's Sony.
I can't rule that out, John. I think you might be right, actually. I mean, other than the PR stuff about, Phil and let's work together again, all that stuff. That's just PR stuff, right? That's just kind of hype.
They keep bringing up Microsoft. I noticed that they keep bringing them up, and it's like
I'm telling you, man, Tencent wants to buy them. They dumped a bunch of money into them, and they totally are. They're gonna. I don't know why they didn't buy them already. Maybe because they're waiting for more.
I just think Platinum makes the kind of games that Microsoft would be interested in having, because then they can make the action-oriented games, and it would work for what Microsoft, I'm sure, would have envisioned. And hey, maybe they want to do Scalebound. I don't know.
I think you're right, John. I think Phil's going to open up his checkbook once the Activision deal's done.
How much is Platinum really worth? They can't be that much.
$65.
Well, maybe they can get them on Kickstarter, Sean.
$5 billion.
Yeah.
I thought you were about to say 65 million. They say $65. They're probably.
I can't imagine.
I don't know.
They don't have any. Much. They have what's their intellectual property? Wonderful 101 and Project GG.
Yeah, that's.
Hey, Babylon's Fall.
Terra Cresta that just came out.
Soul Cresta. Yeah. Like even Babylon's Fall isn't even theirs. That's Square.
That's Square.
Yeah.
I think Platinum would probably want to wait a piece if they make a couple hits with their. So Project you wait a bit. Yeah, Project GG.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spawncast episode 254. We're a little lean tonight, missing some people, but we're still gonna roll the show. It's the show must go on. Sean he's doing something. I don't know. He's around. He'll be back next week, guys. Nate could pop in at any time, so keep that suspense going there. Max is he's doing something. And but we got MVG back here tonight. MVG, how we doing?
Doing great. Great to be here. Thanks for having me on as always. And yeah, the real people are here tonight. The pretenders are off for tonight. I'm calling them all out. RGT, Dreamcast guy, Nate. What's going on?
Jordan? Hey, Nate might maybe they'll be here. And Jordan. I don't know where Jordan is either.
Nate can read us some more erotic fanfic. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, if you hear that Steve Austin theme music,
yeah. He said he might be popping. We'll see. Let's see. We got Miss Click. How you doing, Click?
Hi, it's good to be here. Hello, everybody. I'm a little sicky, but I'm still here. So
Click here.
we're doing
We got OJ. How you doing, OJ? Player Essence.
Doing absolutely fantastic. The best, happiest that I've ever been. No cap.
And then we got Evan. Evan, how we doing?
Doing all
Good
right.
to have Evan here off his stint with Lost Ark. So
I'm going right back to it after
people
this.
say you got apparently everyone's check it out. It's got like over 1 million concurrent players on Steam. It's taken over.
So much grind. It's going to be so much
Amazon somehow finding success over there. Who'd have thought? Actually, that's two. I think that's 2 games that Amazon's done so far that have actually been shockingly successful.
Well, the grinding. We'll see how it gets towards the end. See how their end game for this game works.
Well,
they had what? They had New World and now they have Lost Ark.
Yeah, New World. I mean, New World started good, but it's basically gone at this point. But Lost Ark started up, but they're mostly just handling the servers, to my understanding, which has been a little choppy at the beginning, as most online games go. But it's fine.
Sure. Okay. We do have a bunch of stuff to go over. We have the Nintendo Direct to talk about here today, which Sean notably absent after Metroid Dread was mentioned, but that's fine. We have the Xbox, Activision, of course, Microsoft becoming a little more clear, MVG, on their stance for Call of Duty and some big Activision titles there, even talking about the Switch a bit there. And then I thought I was going to bring up Stadia as well, because this might be the last time potentially we bring up Stadia, as it's not looking good for the streaming platform. Evan, do we want to start with a Discord question over there?
Any recommendations for a good paint and top coat to use for refinishing a new N64 Switch online controller?
Refinishing one?
Yeah.
Interesting. I know people like to use the plastic Krylon paint because it bonds to it, but for like professional work, you probably need like a nice airbrush or something.
Good
but like
airbrush is
basic
usually a good way to
DIY, I assume the Krylon stuff and then just like a matte clear coat on top.
Yeah, you don't want to ask me. I just rattle can it with something, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I do.
That's definitely not the right way to go with that kind of stuff.
Controllers are weird because you're going to be handling it so much. Like you don't want it to feel like it's been painted, but I think that's kind of tough to get around.
Wouldn't the paint normally be sticky if you just like sprayed it on?
It depends.
Yeah.
The stickiness usually comes from certain types of finishes in it. That's why people tend to go with airbrush, because it's more of like an ink finish and it just solidifies to it. There are pretty good cheap options for airbrushing, but you got to take a look at how it actually sprays on.
There we go. Got another one over there, Evan?
Let's go with, why is it that PS5 outsold Wii U within a year seems to be worthy for news to report, kind of beating a dead horse?
PS5 outselling the Wii U. I feel like that was expected.
Yeah.
People want the PS5.
Yeah.
I don't know. PS5 super high demand on the system. I mean, the Switch rolled right past the Wii U. I'm sure the Xbox is about to roll right back. It's basically like, can you outsell the Wii U in your first year? It seems to be the milestone now.
I mean,
Low
they
bar.
outsold the Vita too. So I mean, like, was that a story? Is that like a news story?
What about the Virtual Boy?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not. It's just people were fishing for clicks, obviously, but that's okay. That's the way it's done.
Slow news days.
Well, we look for like I feel like we look for the stuff once it crosses like the 40 or 50 million, then you're like, all right, we're is it coming up to like the Game Boy Color, or I'm sorry, the Game Boy Advance, things like that. Those are the ones where it's more interesting. Whereas, I mean, the Wii U is basically like just over the starting gate almost. So, got another one, Evan, and we'll move into. I gotta pull up the Direct stuff.
Do you think Activision will continue with their $70 game price after the acquisition is complete?
Yes.
Yep.
I think Microsoft will move to the $70 soon too. Why not? Because they want you to subscribe to Game Pass anyway. So
But they're all pushing Game Pass though. So
I would definitely make the game $70 then. The more expensive the game is at retail, the better Game Pass looks. So I'm like, everything's 70.
Yep.
But let's see. We are going to let's move over to the Direct. So we had that Nintendo Direct on the 9th of February. It was about 40 minutes. I think I clocked it at 41 and a half minutes is what it came in at. But I think it was pretty good. How did everyone feel about the Direct overall before I go through like all the fine details here?
Solid. Really solid. It didn't
Nintendo's best for quite a while.
Yeah.
Oh wow, okay.
It didn't even have to have what everybody was expecting or hoping for, I should say. Mario, Zelda, I guess Striker showed up, so Metroid, Bayonetta, none of that, Xenoblade and everything else kind of mixed in with it, plus Strikers. I think it was really, really, really exciting to see people get hyped up for it. I think some people were not prepared to get hyped up for it because they're like, oh, we're gonna see Zelda, and then they got excited about something, and you love to see that. It's really great.
Yeah, they said first half games. So I mean, in my predictions, I was like, I don't know about Zelda, just because I knew that Zelda.
Though you know.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't gonna be first half though, and I just felt that it wasn't gonna. It's gonna be, if we're gonna see, it's gonna be at E3. Zelda's always a big E3.
You want all the eyes on it, yeah.
Yeah, it's always a big E3 or E3 timing. But for me, that direct was incredible. I mean, obviously, I'm an RPG fan, and there was quite a number of Japanese games and RPGs there, and obviously Xenoblade 3 being the last game being shown. And for those who don't know, I mean, I'm a huge mega fan of Xenoblade. I played and beat every single one.
You had the best reaction.
Dude, I saw your clips, OJ. They were top tier, man. That was so. I honestly, I was so happy for you when I saw your reaction, dude. I was like, that's an awesome announcement.
Yeah, I thought it could be there, but I wasn't as sure. I knew Fire Emblem was going to be there, so I knew that there was going to be something Fire Emblem. I didn't know what Fire Emblem was going to be, and I knew that could be a Warriors, because I said, hey, there could be Echoes, Warriors, and Mainline. I think they're making all three, so I don't know what order we're going to get them, but we're going to see Fire Emblem. So we got that, so I was hyped. That was cool. That's a Warriors game. And then now, like, the actual Xenoblade, though, like the new Xenoblade game. We haven't had one. It's been 5 years since something new from Monolith Soft, man. And not even that. You can even date back to since Xeno X. This is the first time that we've got something from them, like Team 1, Takahashi Team 1 since X, and that was 2015. So it's been a while.
Let's go over. We can go over all the announcements here one by one for the direct. They started with Fire Emblem 3 Hopes. It is a Warriors game.
I'm excited for it.
I saw people excited and then immediately disappointed. There was a lot of like, oh, it's Fire Emblem. Yes, it's like the next big, and it's like and Warriors, and they're like, oh.
No, to be honest, Fire Emblem fans are gonna have stuff to look forward to. So this is just like the first part. This is just the beginning. Like, don't stress about that. I'm very excited though.
Is this a stopgap for the next Fire Emblem game, or do you think, because we know that there's other Fire Emblem games in development right now, is this them saying maybe hold off a little longer for the next Fire Emblem?
Like Age of Calamity.
It's very much like Fire Emblem Warriors. I mean, that was the bridge in between the new Fire Emblem game. Fire Emblem Three Houses was supposed to come out in 2018. Fire Emblem Warriors came out at the very end of 2017, and then we were supposed to get Fire Emblem Three Houses in early 2018, but they had to delay it. So, I mean, yeah, absolutely. They release a Warriors game before, and then we get the new one afterwards. And then I think Echoes might be after that, but there's definitely a remake that's coming too. So I don't know what order it's going to be in. I'm guessing that the newest Fire, I mean, they might do the remake afterwards. I just don't know what order it's going to be in, but it makes sense that the Warriors game is first when it comes down to it. So, so yeah.
So that's coming out June 24th. So you're going to see this a lot during this direct. It's games coming out in the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months, like soon. No Man's Sky. That surprised me. I don't think I was expecting No Man's Sky to show up in a direct, but here it is. They didn't really, I guess, elaborate on it too much. Like people are still wondering. It's not, from what I can tell, it's not cloud-based or anything. It's just No Man's Sky on the Switch.
I feel like the biggest issue with the game was just its visuals from the older systems, because the game itself is what, like 3-4 gigs in size? Like it's not huge, big. And a lot of it's procedurally generated. It's just the graphics needed to really be downscaled, I guess.
They talked about it. It wasn't something that they wanted to do. Like somebody made it. Some of the employees just started tinkering around with the Switch, and then it ended up just happening. That's what they said.
That makes sense.
At Hello Games, interesting. Okay. Mario Strikers. Mario Strikers returning. This is a big announcement, by the way, because I feel like most people were universally excited when Mario Strikers popped up on screen. It still has that art style to it, which is great when they're doing the super strikes. They have like almost like the comic book look to it, and like it's kind of rough sketches with some pretty cool colors all over it. And I mean, it looks like what I would want a new Mario Strikers to look like is what I'll say. The Wii one I wasn't as sold on. I loved the GameCube.
The GameCube
one was it, and this looks like the next evolution of the series here. June 10th, once again, coming up pretty soon. Actually, that's interesting. So June 10th and then June 24th, Three Hopes comes out, but looks like it has a lot of online play to it too. That's something that I surprised me a bit. Like they're going to have full clubs, 20 people in a club. And you guys, I guess, can join together and play against other clubs. So if like 4 of you are on or 5 of you are on, you guys can jump in and play against other clubs. And then you get off. Other people in your clubs get on and come and keep playing, and I guess you rank up your overall club as you go.
Depending on how clubs work, I mean, I might try to set one up for the Spawn Cast Discord.
Yeah, we're setting one up. We're definitely
forget Halo. This is it now for us. Mario Strikers.
This is it.
I think it's interesting though, because even though like people in chat are like, it seemed pretty violent. It seems pretty toned down compared to the previous Strikers.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
I was kind of hoping. I was kind of like hoping for a little bit more sass, you know, from the characters.
They thought it looked violent.
That's people who haven't played Mario Strikers, though. If you've played Mario Strikers, there's nothing.
Push people in an electric fence and like.
Yeah.
I do wish, and I know people are saying, "Oh, I don't know why it should be DLC necessarily, unless you're going to make a big deal about it." But I didn't see Daisy in the trailer, and to me, Daisy is just like when I think of Strikers, I think of Daisy. You know, like kiss my, you know. So,
no, you know, Click. Yeah. I think that they're going to do the same thing that they do with all the Mario sports games.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be where it launches as a bait and then content just try to. Yeah, they're going to do that.
Putting Daisy behind that, to me personally, like Pauline, I can understand. Like if you want to do PD Piranha or the Gator, what's his name? The Gator character. I don't remember his name.
I just knew him as a god tier goalie. That's all.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Yeah.
But no, I'm excited for Strikers. I think this is going to be the game for the summer. And it was a game that I was hoping we finally see from next. I mean, it's Next Level doing it, I assume, right?
Yeah.
We assume though they never announced who it was. I mean, we're almost certain.
Is
that
their
it's
page?
Next Level,
is the page up for it right now on their website?
No, it's not up. I forgot who I saw that said that it was, but it was somebody who writes on games. But I forgot who said it though, so I can't reference it. But I thought I saw somebody say that it was Next Level.
Okay. I mean, yeah, it makes sense.
I'm not 100%.
They had referenced it in Luigi's Mansion, right?
Yeah,
they were like referenced to it in there. So
I mean,
like,
it's almost certainly that it's Next Level. But
yeah,
I thought it was interesting that it was not. I guess it's still not confirmed 100% yet.
Yeah.
You know.
But it looks like a Next Level. Next Level games have this certain look to it.
Yeah.
And it kind of just like looks like that, you know, or somebody's playing an imposter if it's not them.
I mean, it looks great though.
It looks very good. Yeah. Great. So I am really excited for Mario Strikers. That's like my new and most anticipated game of the year almost.
I won't lie though, when I first saw the trailer, like when it first started, I don't know why I automatically thought it was gonna be like a mobile game. And like the 180 of expectation to reality was
oh wow,
it was amazing. I was like,
I knew it was Strikers from the
once it jumped I was like, it's Strikers.
I knew as soon as they made like the little I was like, oh, it's Strikers. I said like literally, I was like, Strikers.
I saw the top down. I thought they were gonna do something Strikers like but mobile, and I was like, is this mobile? And then all of a sudden you see like freaking Bowser jump down in the gear and you're like, no way. And then you see the comic kind of flash with the characters. It's like, holy crap, we're here. This is great.
Yep, I am excited. That's a day one immediate buy. And yeah, immediately we're jumping online. I don't know if they're gonna have a campaign for that. I feel like you don't really need one necessarily. Career. They tried to pull it off with these past couple sports games. I gotta be honest, it was the weakest part of the games. Everyone wanted to do multiplayer.
Mario Golf,
Mario Tennis was like the
career. But I think this one could be better though.
Oh, it could definitely be better.
Because
I have zero expectations for it to be.
Because I trust Next Level. I trust Next Level more than I trust Camelot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. We'll see. I would. You know what I'd rather though? I'd rather them just really focus on the online multiplayer. If they have to pick and choose, they're like, all right, we got like 2 years to make this thing. I'd be like, look, just look into the multiplayer. Just make sure that's really good.
Yeah.
Like online, and like I said, the clubs, the customization. There's a lot they could do to just continue this game forward with online updates. So I hope they get that kind of roadmap. We'll see. But looking forward to it. June 10th. Chrono Cross finally popped up. We've heard rumors about this thing for a while now. April 7th. That's out again pretty soon, less than 2 months actually away. Looks different than I was expecting.
It looks like the PS1 game, but just
it looks like they picked the worst. It looks like they picked the worst PlayStation emulator to upscale it in. I've gone back and looked at the trailer a couple of times. I assume this is just a budget title. Like I don't think they put a lot into this.
I mean, they did put the Radical Dreamers in there. So that was very interesting. I never thought that they would have done that. So that that was cool because it's part of the universe. But yeah, at the same time, like obviously the look of it, especially after getting all these cool HD 2D games.
Exactly.
And then you see this and you're like, oh, okay.
It just,
but it's a
it does
PS1
feel
game.
like they were like, hey, no one's really played it. Let's just move it on there. And we've seen PS1 games like this before. Maybe I was kind of hoping that the Chrono Cross like game would have gotten a bit more work done to it, a bit more love.
They would have had to spend more money and like get a real remaster because the game looks extremely rough on PS1. The thing that I'm looking forward to though with it is that the load times in the original are just
much better. It'll be much better here.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to playing it in that way. And then they have some other quality. They got a bunch of quality of life features
the
in there.
fast forward feature and stuff, right?
Yeah, auto taking off like random battles and stuff like that. So I mean, that's going to be good for people who want to play. It's hard though. It's like when your dad's Michael Jordan and you're and you're not.
That's a good point.
You know, it's like, that's the problem with the game. I mean, look at Michael Jordan's kids. I mean, they're great.
Yeah,
they're all
that's
great,
true.
but they ain't Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? So that's the problem with this game.
Well, hopefully, if they ever touch Chrono Trigger, they don't do this again. Actually, they've already done it once.
What do you think? Will they do the HD 2D with it? You guys think they'll do that, or what do you think they'll do?
With Chrono Trigger, they'll probably do what they did on Steam and just make it into a mobile version, then port that to console.
No,
please.
No, I don't agree with that. I think we haven't talked about Live Alive yet, but I think
we're getting to that.
Yes.
Well, let's go to Live Alive, and then I'll tell you my thoughts.
Well, I'm going in order of some of the announcements,
on that MVG.
but let me just go. We'll just go to Live Alive. All right. Live Alive is shocking. Like I did not expect that to be there. Well,
nuts.
It was in that NVIDIA leak, and that was something that everyone's scrolled past several times. They even had like the trademark that kept being filed, and it's like as a trademark, they're just doing that just to trademark it. No, they weren't kidding when they said, "Hey, we're going to look into HD 2D." Like that's going to be a thing, and this is coming out July 22nd, and the word is there's going to be a physical copy for it and everything.
Nintendo's doing the physical copy. It's $50, so it's a bit pricey, but I personally think it's worth it because I think once this game is
I'm buying it.
I'm all in.
Yeah. This is going to be. I think this will be a rare game.
Yeah, because Octopath is already rare. Because Octopath is already rare. That's still $60, sometimes $64 to $70 for Octopath here in the West. So I mean, it's gonna whatever its price is worth it. But it's one of the few RPGs where I was like, I don't know what this is. Like, I never come across that.
This is a game that I actually had quite a few requests for reproduction carts on the Super Nintendo because there's been a patch for a long time to translate this, and people would always ask, "Can you make this cart?" And it was Live. I had no idea how to pronounce it. I always called it Live Alive because I looked at it and I was like, "That's live and that's alive." No, it's Live Alive. So now I at least know how to pronounce it because I don't think anyone knew how to pronounce it. Like no one's ever actually said that in a promotion before outside of Japan. So I think someone out there is probably right. Someone probably said Live Alive at some point. But like there are some people who are really into this game who would actually go out and like get the translation patch done, inject it into the ROM, play it through an emulator, or make the reproduction card. And I would do that at times. I'd make it and I'd check it out to test. And I'm like, yeah, it's interesting. You pick like one of 8 characters and they have different storylines
So you played it already? Okay,
I played a little bit of it, not a ton. And it was the fan translation. So it's like, how official was it?
Yeah.
What were you saying, Click?
How popular was it at the time?
In Japan, it was kind of like a cult classic sort of. Outside of there, it was just word of mouth, people hearing of this game. It's similar to people hearing of something like Terranigma. That's one that people heard of, and they were like,
well, even Second Densetsu, Secret of Mana 2 would be something as well. Because I used to read the SNES magazines back in the day, and I remember seeing like Live Alive in there. And I was like, man, this game looks incredible. I really want to play it. Hopefully it'll come, outside of Japan. And it never did. And it always really bummed me out. And I never looked at the translation patch, John. But for me, I would say this announcement was probably the biggest surprise of the Direct.
Yes.
For me.
Really?
Because I don't think anyone had that on a prediction card. It's like, Live Alive's definitely getting an HD 2D.
I didn't even know what it was, but it's an HD 2D remake, and the game looks nuts.
Great.
It looks just different styles. You got a fighting game,
visual
you've got
aesthetics.
RPG in there. You've got a 2D stealth ninja game. It's like
one where it's like a shooter. Yeah, it's interesting. They have different gameplay styles that go along with it. It's kind of cool.
it just looks like it's one of those games that like you play and you don't know what the hell to expect, and it just does something completely different. Like you're like, okay, I know the premise, but what's going to happen? You know, and how does it all tie together? You know, because I haven't looked up any spoilers or anything like that, but apparently it all ties together. You know, so and you're in different eras. I love that stuff. So it's kind of like the time stuff, like where you're in prehistoric and you're like in modern day, you're in future, and I almost think I was saying this on my stream, but like. That future part, it almost seems like they got like an idea for like the 20 series from that kid that's in there. Very much like The World Ends With You, you know, just kind of like with some of his powers and stuff. So I don't know, it just looks dope.
Yep.
So
I like the HD2D setup being used. What were you
real
saying?
quick, so Chrono Trigger. I mean, Live Alive came. From nowhere.
Yep.
Why can we not get Chrono Trigger now redone in this format? Because this is the format that I would want Chrono Trigger to be redone, right? Like if they gave it to us in this fashion, yes, give it to me.
So
I don't want it to be remastered at all. I just want Chrono Trigger with the 2D engine with the HD in the Live Alive kind of aesthetic. Give it to me.
Here's what I want for Chrono Trigger. I want Nomura, first off, to lead the project. And I want him to make a whole thing where you're fighting ghosts and they're trying to protect their Chrono Trigger past and you're breaking through and it's just ruins everything. I want to see the internet after that ending gets revealed and everyone.
I have a little bit of on this.
Oh,
I've heard.
Go on.
That Chrono Trigger, they've scrapped at least 2 revivals of Chrono Trigger at this point.
I think they're afraid to do it.
They don't want to bleep it up. And I'm not just saying that, just say like I've heard about 2 separate ones where they said, we're going to do it like this. And then said, no, it's going to ruin it. We're going to do it like this. Oh no, we're going to ruin it. So maybe this was before HD 2D took off, right? I've been hearing this. So maybe they finally have settled on, well, we'll do this. But they had it one that apparently was like Secret of Mana 3 or Trials of Mana. And it was just hideous, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
They were looking at it doing something like that, and it was like, no, we can't do that, you know? So, and after playing Trials of Mana, it's fantastic. It's a great remake. But after playing, I'm like, yeah, you can't do that.
I would be okay. They'd have to go either full Final Fantasy VII remake budget and do it like that, or I say go to HD2D and call it a day.
And that's the thing. There's no way in hell they're going to spend that money on that.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
That's the problem.
Just not for Chrono Trigger. I mean, the game quality would be incredible, right?
Yeah.
But how much